Hey everyone. There is a song. I think there's an ice cream truck outside. I don't know what that means in terms of this live, but I just wanted to point that out for everyone here. This is going to be a really short live, so thank you all for being here. I have a severe pain in my neck from working out with bad form, but let me know if you can hear me while we play the opening video. Hey, can everyone hear me? Please let me know if you can hear me. As always, that is usually a problem. We can hear. All right, good. We can hear. The audio is great. All right, awesome. So today, because tomorrow's live is going to be so academic in nature, I think that today we should kind of step back a little and react and have some fun as opposed to like just going all out. So yeah. Themis, you know this live will be about 3 hours. No. I actually I haven't slept well. I have a ton of work to do still, and my neck is just not. I went to the gym, and my form was not great, and it hurts so much. But swallowing is very difficult. Do you need the reminder of 2 hour mark? Not today. Today, I am definitely going to be cutting off because this is supposed to be a 30-minute video. So I'm going to try to keep it under an hour. So this should be good. Before we start, a warm up. So I'm looking it up now. The Republicans released their priority list, and if you guys want to, you guys should definitely look that up because I think it is important that we're still in the pandemic, and at the top we have election integrity as one of the things that the Republicans are focused on. Which fine, but how is it above? How is it above healthcare? So immigration is number 1, election integrity is number 2, religious freedom is number 3, federal budget debt and deficit is number 4, gun rights is number 5, national defense is number 6, energy independence. I'm very confused. Education is number 8. Then China and Russia is number 9. Life or abortion is number 10. Media bias is number 11. Criminal justice is number 12. Transportation and infrastructure is number 13. And then at number 14, we have healthcare. Now, we are in the middle of a pandemic. How is healthcare ranked under, I'm a bit confused as to why healthcare is, so low. I just don't understand how election integrity is above healthcare. I don't know how gun rights is above healthcare. I don't know how immigration is above healthcare. Transportation and infrastructure. I don't understand how all of those are in front of healthcare. So the Republican priorities list doesn't make sense to me at all. So I'm going to do some more reading. It just came out, so that literally makes absolutely no sense to me. But hold up, did they just put independence in the list? Yes, they put religious freedom in the how is education number 8? in the we still have a pandemic going on, and healthcare is number 14. I was watching Secular Talk before I came on, and that's where I saw the list first. So I haven't done much research into this, but that is horrendous. That's all I'm going to say there. Anywho, let's get into the video. So a lot of people have asked me why I don't speak on Oshay Duke Jackson in the way that I speak on everyone else from the manosphere. And the reason why I don't speak on, well, let me not be in any way disrespectful. The reason I don't generally speak on Oshay Duke Jackson is, while most people in the manosphere are just regurgitating things, right? While they're just regurgitating talking points, Oshay Duke Jackson's brand of regurgitation comes in the form of just really celebrating the other content creators in the manosphere, right? And so there's really never a point. Like, this sounds really bad, but there's really never a point as to why anyone would be covering Oshay. Like, for me, I don't see the reason in covering him. But he did a video the other day, and a lot of people sent this to me. I got it, well, not a lot of people. It was about 2 or 3 people who sent me the same video asking me my opinion. And I thought it didn't matter because, again, Oshay Duke Jackson, until I watched it. And here are some things that I don't like with this, right? By the way, welcome to everyone. I apologize. I usually go through and welcome the first couple of people here, so I apologize for that. Welcome to everyone here. I truly appreciate you for being here. But watching this is like watching an abusive relationship, and I apologize, trigger warning. Are you familiar with his King Gundan? No, King Gunda channel. No, I am not familiar. I know that he went to different countries in Africa at some point, but I don't know anything about him. I don't follow him, but I recognize that there is space for people who don't really do analysis and just say, I like this creator, I'm gonna cheer for them. I don't like this creator, I'm gonna not cheer for them. And there's no kind of analysis going on. So I don't take him seriously in that way in terms of either adding or taking away from the conversation as a general matter. But I realize now why there's so much discomfort with the manosphere. From an outside looking in, it feels like there is an abusive relationship going on, and someone is telling you who you are and what you should be, while most of them don't explicitly say it. Oshay Duke Jackson explicitly says it, right? And it's interesting because in his expression of what Alpha Male Strategy and Kevin Samuels are talking about, he is very callous. And because he's very callous, he is saying some of the unspoken parts of the other content creators who might be better at communicating their own message if they want to just be undercover and not explicit in what they're saying. So Oshay Duke Jackson, we get to talk about him today. And I have a lot to say. So before I do that, let me, if Zizi is in here, can you comment again? I saw your comment earlier, but it disappeared, and I'm trying to find your name. Yeah, just comment again. I need to find your name. Anywho, oh, there you go. All right. Cool, got it. So let's watch this video and we're gonna talk, because again, this is not going to mean a lot to people who are already convinced of these ideas, but at least it is an example of something being just explicit. And the explicit nature of it allows us to really talk about what it is that he's actually saying, as opposed to what he's telling us he's saying, because we get to hear it explicitly now. So let's go jump into the video before we get lost in me talking.
With another episode of the Celebrity Jump. I want to take it to a snippet of the DJ Vlad interview with Kevin Samuels. I know I'm a little late on this, but this was posted about a week ago. Okay. And there's a clip, which is part 12. Kevin Samuels tells, they're talking about marriages and long-term relationships and how people, sometimes years down the line, they're sleeping with somebody else in the marriage, but they stay together because there's children in the marriage. They're staying together because there's a business in the marriage. And a lot of times when you have flings with people, they die out because you can only be attracted to somebody for so long. And then you need other things there to keep them. At some point, we start talking about, toward the end of this clip, Kevin Samuels' kind of bread and butter, which is what average men want. And he's talking about it from a black community perspective. He didn't say black women. But if you really notice what he starts to mention, and while he's synthesizing a phrase, you hear these traits, the personification of, well, if you are this kind of guy, you're a lame. If you're an educated guy, you're a lame.
All right. So here we get the first glimpse of him not understanding code, right? So I watched Kevin Samuels' interview on Vlad TV. Anyway, that's a whole separate thing that I'm not going to get into. You'll hear a little bit, but like, no. So he says explicitly that Kevin Samuels is talking about the Black community. This, I think, is very obvious. But the thing about the interview is, if you went to this particular interview right here and you accused him, Kevin Samuels, of talking about the Black community, he could have said, no, he was talking about men generally and women generally, because he even went into men, we built this, right? And if we're talking about America, well, I'm not even going to get into that, right? But Kevin Samuels allowed himself the excuse to say, I wasn't just talking about Black men when I say we built this. He could have talked about all kinds of men, right? But we knew who he was talking about, even though he didn't say it explicitly. This guy decided to go and say it explicitly. So this is the first point. Unimportant, right? But I just wanted to point that out. Hey, Bello.
So there's only one group of people that have that stereotype in our community, and we know who they are. It's not white women. It's not Asian women. We know who has that stereotype. That's sisters, okay? Not saying all of them exhibit this, but that's what he's saying.
Okay, sorry, again, we're talking about anti-intellectualism in the Black community. And he is saying that in the Black community, sisters, Black women, do not like smart men and call them lames, right? Now, even the phrase lame is something that was born out of a kind of a hip-hop culture. We know that the currency in hip-hop culture is not with women. Like, we know that, right? Like, the currency in hip-hop culture is predominantly about men and what men want to put forward. Now, we can debate about who actually has the saying, if it's the exec or the artist, but we know that, right? So it's interesting. It is super interesting to me that he's going to put the onus on Black women as opposed to Black men in talking about the anti-intellectualism that exists in the Black community. That is not that's far from the truth, right? But let's continue.
Yet, these men are average, are above average earners. They'll end up being that, or they're on their way to greatness, But those women who are calling these guys lame and they don't have anything, well, it's funny because the women that are crapping on those guys, these guys typically have more than them. And see, that's the interesting point about what Kevin Samuels considers, and others now, modern women. You see, many modern women today believe that they have the right to pick and choose.
So you said actually the label of educated lame has been around longer than hip hop. This might be true. I'm not going to argue you on this point, but if you're arguing right now that this phrase, right, not just about popularizing it, but this is not a phrase of Black men, if this is not a weapon that Black men use against other Black men, I'm going to need receipts on that, right? Because we know who has power in the media in terms of the Black media, right? And it's interesting because you pointing that out, actually the label of educated lame has been around longer than hip hop. I am not going to judge and say that you are trying to tell me that ads. I'm not going to judge you and say you were trying to tell me that that men aren't a part of this quote unquote anti-intellectualism that exists in the Black community. If you are telling me that, I'm going to need receipts. I have a ton of anecdotes. I won't use any, but also this is not what the research shows, right? So this book is Marriage for White People. I am almost done with it again. I read it before, I'm reading it again. And here we have a ton of research. In fact, the book seems big, right? The book seems really big, except it's not, right? So the acknowledgement starts on this page, and then everything else is research. Literally everything else behind here is citation. And in this book, we get to find that women are more inclined to go to Black women, and women generally, actually, it's not just a trend in the Black community, it's a trend in almost every racial group, that women are actually interested and are investing more in their education. And we're only talking about kind of formal education training. So if we're saying the anti-intellectualism in the Black community is because of women, I mean, I'm going to need citations for that. Like, absolutely not. That's not, that is not the truth. That is definitely not the truth. Modern women, what the F? They can't be just women. No, absolutely not. I'm with you, right? Like, these people are, it's very strange to me. Yeah, for anyone who hasn't, I'm not being paid, but even if you want to refute it, because this book was written a while ago, right? Please read the book. It's really good. Like, I don't know Professor Banks personally. I've heard him speak once in person, but I do think it's important that we are, in fact, speaking factually as opposed to emotionally. But let's continue. Oh yeah, by the way, I took it off because it was an ad.
She can only say, you're out of my league. What does she mean by that? She can only say, well, I'm a 10 and you're like a 3, so you're out of my league. And that's and maybe if that makeup comes off, she's knocked down to a 6, that guy's to a 3. So, but with the makeup on, you're out of my league. Women never feel that a guy's out of their league. Everybody is obtainable for them, regardless of what they have. Many times, it's not as much as the guys that they're crapping on. I want to preface it by saying this. If I can rewind it back, these guys who women are looking down on, and you guys can understand this. When you were in college, when I was in college, studying biology as an undergrad, I got out, I started working before I came back to professional school. Women would look at you like, oh, you have a regular job, but what they don't understand is that this man is working on being somebody great. Okay? And see, Alpha Male Strategist talked about this in the Roommates podcast. Just because you're broke.
All right, here we go. So there is a lot of things that is in this portion, right? About women should. Tyler Perry does this too. Tyler Perry chastises women for not sticking by a man in order to help building. Now, I have a lot of concerns about this, particularly the starter wife phenomenon, whereby you stick with someone when they're broke and then they become successful and they leave you for someone they deem to be a higher class or better social status or whatever they want to call it. But so psychologists, I think this might be niche. So we don't have to get into it. But there is this idea about value based on what you're willing to accept, and don't use this as a bar. But there is this idea that the person you are with, you might feel yourself better than that person if you don't value yourself. So the fact that they're with you when you're poor means that you can get better because you gain wealth. This is a very idiotic way to think about things, but it's also one that is based on your own valuing of yourself. Something went in my eye, I apologize. All right, let's continue, because I really want to talk about this here.
Broke right now. And if you get married, that don't necessarily mean that in 5 years, you're going to be there. You're working on you.
Hey, making cassava is super.
Not another commercial. By the
easy.
way,
I like to do the.
By the way, separately and more importantly, because you are broke does not mean you're going to stay broke. This is true. This is definitely true. The question is, who is willing to chance it? Like, I don't care about how people structure their relationship. The research does not land in the favor of us doing great, right? And get the premium, period. No, you guys are probably going to make me get it if I continue to do this. In any case, so I forgot where I was. I almost lost my train of thought because of the premium. Right now, I don't believe that you should structure your relation based on anyone's opinion. But I think if we were focused on building men to, like, I don't know, earn more economically, then if you want someone who earn more, I think you should go get that person as opposed to trying to build. And the reason I think that, and this is not advice, don't do this. I think you can structure your relationship how you want, but it's because of the starter wife phenomena, right? I think that if you stick around and you support someone, the stories that we are getting told, the stories that get amplified in the media are those stories about men leaving their women for other women when they become successful. Kanye West had a song about it. Kevin Hart did it. Literally everyone, like every celebrity I know. Now, obviously, there could be relationship issues that we don't know about, but when it follows a very particular kind of trend, with the exception of Sierra and Russell Wilson that I can think of off the top of my head, it goes one way, one color direction. And so it's very, I would be more cautious. But this is not what the video is about for me.
Every day. Women, you're working on you, okay? And you're making all these small incremental gains every day. Women, if they're... Most women in our community will have a hard time seeing something like this. The reason is they haven't seen it in a man before. You know, women in our community understand the finished product, okay? They don't understand that, well, he has the potential, he's working towards it. I see these things from him every day. He's getting up, he's going to work, he stays late, he's saving his money. I'm seeing that, you know, he's talking to me about, 30% of his money goes to investment, his money goes to savings. I can see what he does every day. Okay, I have a good idea.
All right. So we're going to step a little bit away from him now and go, because this is where I think the abusive relationship thing comes in, right? He says Black women do not know about how people work towards getting to their goal. They only know the finished product. I don't know which Black woman you're talking about, but statistically, Black women are actually building themselves and are actually dating people you guys call irrelevant. Now, and quote unquote pookies and ray-rays, right? And Black women actually date down in terms of their economics and their education level, right? So it's really interesting that you're saying that Black women do not know about a work in progress. They only know the finished product. Now, we could reframe the conversation and say, well, in the beginning, he was talking about specifically men who were into stocks and men who were smart and blah, 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 right? And men who had quote unquote potential. I feel this, by the way, is important. I don't like people dating other people for their potential, but it is very interesting to me because even Kevin Samuels espoused the same idea. And I'm going to show you guys where Kevin Samuel said literally the same thing, or pretty much the same thing, in terms of Black women's inability to date someone and build with that person. The literal problem with Kevin Samuel saying this is he literally told a woman that it is like not okay, right? Like it is not okay for her to be dating someone for their potential because an average man might not want to make more, and the woman should be okay with dating men who don't want to make more. And the problem with women is they always want to change men and increase their potential. These things happen. So here's Kevin Samuels, by the way, talking on Vlad for, I'm just going to do this for a couple seconds. And then we go to the video of him telling the like direct opposite to someone who called in.
You probably wouldn't look at is the guy you need to be able to have a little bit more vision and say, well, if I get with him now and I stick with him now while I'm building with him now, I can reap all the benefits later. This is the problem. Most women say they want men who are high value, but they don't want to do the work when they're average looking. See, Bill and Melinda got together young.
All right, I'm going to stop him. Y'all got the point there, right? So the point is, his thesis, along with Oshay's thesis, is that men and women particularly, should be getting with men and building with men. I see no problem with this outside of the starter wife phenomena, which is why I'm saying hypergamy, right? But outside of the starter wife phenomena, I see no problem with this. Except this is literally the opposite, the opposite of what he's talking about. This is literally the opposite of the advice he's giving to women. So let me pull up the video of what he said. And I had to search for this because let's turn the speed down. All right, let's do this. So here's what he actually told people, right?
Build my business.
Okay. Have you ever lived on your own?
Yes, I did.
All right.
If he had a plan and a
If somebody's making $80,000, you would be okay with the man making half of what you're making.
I would be okay with a man making half of what I'm making if he had a plan and a vision for.
See, guys, this is what it always comes down to. I'd accept it as long as he had ambition. See, this always comes down. Listen, no. We know where this goes now. Something's wrong with your speaker.
Okay.
No, the average black man in this country earns $42,000.
All right, I'm going to stop him there because I don't need to go any further. So when I say that it seems odd to me, right, that you are telling women, both Oshay Duke Jackson is contradicting himself and Kevin Samuels contradicting himself, right? These women aren't all saying, hey, we want high value men. And maybe some of them are, I don't know, don't care. But the thing is, when you come out and you say, the problem with black women, particularly because Oshay Duke Jackson contextualized it for us, the problem with black women is that, hey, they don't want a man to build with. They want the finished product. They don't understand how to build. Like, I am going to need the receipts because the statistics says completely different things than what you are saying, right? So that's the first thing. The second problem here is that you already know this. You sat there and told a woman that the problem with her is that she's looking for a man with ambition instead of just settling for the man in whatever state he's in. Now, it is interesting to me that these people don't actually see this huge contradiction because you went on a different platform and you were there articulating what it is that, quote unquote, men do and want and women do and want, while you were telling and giving advice to women about how they should operate, contradicting your statement about that which you say they are. So look, I don't know. At one point you're saying black women don't look at men with ambition. They just want the finished product, and that's the problem. On another hand, a woman is literally telling you, hey, I don't mind dating someone who doesn't have all the money and resources yet. I am willing to work with that person to build. And then you're there chastising her for wanting a man with ambition. I literally don't, this makes absolutely no sense to me. This makes absolutely no sense to me. It is gaslighting. It is literally an abusive kind of relationship when you are telling people, and this is why it's impossible for people to like bend and follow these instructions, because they're contradictory. You will be bending and twisting nonstop if you're trying to meet these standards, because just say you want someone who is beautiful and leave it there. Like, don't add these nuances, because one, you get lost in your own nuance, and two, you then go and contradict all of this other stuff that you're adding. Because the problem with Kevin Samuels, right? It seems he wants to win in the conversation, because it's a win-lose conversation, right? He wants to win in the conversation that he's having. So regardless of whatever answer these women give, it's going to be a problem. He needs it to be a problem. The problem with Oshay Duke Jackson, and also why I don't cover him, a separate reason, is he's just putting out content. Like, he's just putting out content. For me, it doesn't seem like there's much thought in these content, in these videos that we're getting, because at this point, like, how do you not catch your own bias? All right. Your example is out of context. You can come on. You can definitely come on for this quote unquote out of context. Here we go with context. No. Trini Boy, here is my link. Please come and contextualize this for me before I move on. I would definitely love this context, because you are asking for context, and I'm giving. We've given context, right? The problem here is you are trying very desperately now to justify this in your mind. And that's fine. You can come on and we can justify it together because I have the full videos right here and we can watch it. That lady called in. She said she wanted a high value man. She learned that these men she's dealing with cannot or do not meet her expectations, summarizing, and she wants a high value man. And she was told she's average in the face, and so she needs an average man. She says, okay, I'm fine with dating an average man when Kevin Samuels asked if he makes $85K and had ambition. And he said very explicitly that that is the problem with you women, right? That is the problem. He's not just talking to her directly. He's making a judgment on women. And he says, this is the problem with you women. You always want ambition and whatever, right? While he then goes on another show and says the problem with Black women, well, women, is that when it comes to dating a man, they tend to, they don't see ambition, right? They just want the finished product, in Oshay Duke Jackson's word and Kevin Samuels. So please, I dropped the link. Please come on and contextualize it for everyone, because I'm very solid in what it is that I do. And I didn't just find that clip. The only way I can go through a 2-hour-long live and know where exactly that clip is because I watched it. It's because I was invested in trying to understand before I come out and talk. So please come on and help me contextualize it. I don't mind. Alita, actually, with the manosphere, a woman can't win. Kevin moves the goalpost to make a post point. Yeah. So Trini boy, if you are here again, you please come on. Like that's all I'm saying. Please come on. Thank you so much, Arlita. He doesn't have to put out quality. Black men just want their lives validated. Yeah, and that's, I mean, it's actually sad at this point. And there's a part of me that didn't want to like cover a lot of this because at this point it's just like, why? Demons want all the smoke. Don't do it, Trini. No, please do it. Oh, he's here. All right. Hey, Trini boy.
Hey, what's going on?
All right, you said it's out of context. Please contextualize for me.
So the issue with that, and because I watch Kevin Samuels, and I try to be not to be too hardline on anything. I listen to what you say. I listen to what everybody says. I don't consider myself a part of the manosphere, but I do listen. I listen to what people have to say. The reason in that particular context, the woman that you brought up, who he said that what's wrong with a man who makes a certain amount of money, is that particular woman. He said that too. The reason being is she was older, she was overweight, and even though she made a certain amount of money, his point that he was trying to tell her was that a man who made the type of money she wanted would not want her. There has been other women who he has spoken to who were younger, who were more beautiful, who were talking about dating somebody with potential, who he has said, no, don't date somebody with potential. Go get somebody who makes more money. So that's why I'm saying you're out of context, because saying that hold on, or his overall thesis for every woman is not the same. He treats every single case differently. So you can't come and say that, oh, this is how he's contradicting himself, because that's this particular case. That's what
So again, I don't know if you didn't hear what I say, what he said, but I'm going to play it back for you again, and I want you to repeat what you said if you want to, because
I'm not. What I want you to do is don't play that snippet. You have to play the whole context of this.
Stop. So we're gonna. I'll play more of it. Right. Let me speed this up a little bit, because I think that this is quite interesting that you are taking this position when he specifically say this is the problem with you women. So let's play it. Wait. Let's play it.
Well, I wasn't born here in America. I was born in Nigeria.
Sensibility. Okay. Western sensibilities. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is,
Okay. All right. Listen. Okay. Where do you live?
I live in Atlanta, Georgia, but
You live with your parents?
yes, I live with my parents.
Why?
To save money to build my business.
Okay. Have you ever lived on your own?
Yes, I did.
All right. So you live with your parents to build your business. So if somebody's making $80,000, you would be okay with the man making half what you're making.
I would be okay with a man making half of what I'm making if he had a plan and a vision.
See, guys, this is what always comes down to. I'd accept it as long as he had ambition. See, this always comes down. Listen, no. We know where this goes now. Something's wrong with your speaker.
Okay.
No, the average black man in this country earns $42,000. There's no more money. There's no more ambition. There's no money tree. There's no side hustle. That's what the French toast they earn. Half of the men earn that.
I mean,
Can you listen and understand that?
I do understand.
Okay, now come back and tell me that he was saying to her specifically that because of her age and her weight that she should not be getting a high value man. Say that again, because it seems to me. Go ahead.
But that's what she wanted, and that's what she was looking for.
Yeah, that's what she wanted.
But listen,
stop. That's what she wanted. She came on, and you were right. Like you were right in that she said that's what she wanted earlier. Then he proposed a suggestion and say, 85K, would you be okay with that? And she says, yes, I would be okay with that if he also had ambition. And he goes, that is the problem with you women. Then he says, there is no more money. The average guy in America makes this much, there's no more money. But stop. So you are coming on now and you are telling me that I needed to contextualize this. And why?
Because what he was telling her, as you played, he asked her, what do? You live with your parents, you're building your business, but you want somebody that makes 80K plus or whatever.
Yeah.
Why can't you settle for somebody, well, I hate to use the word, but that's how women look at it. Why can't you have somebody that's making a regular salary, that's making the average salary? That's not contradictory.
It is contradictory. No. It is contradictory when he literally said women don't want men who are ambitious. They want the finished product. And here we have a literal woman telling her, I don't mind dating someone who doesn't have that money now if they have ambition. You literally used the word ambition, right? You said, women don't want men with ambition. They want the finished product. Then a woman tells her, I want a man with ambition. And he tells her, that's the problem with you women. Now, you could say he was talking about beautiful women, right? And you could have inferred that somehow. He did not say that. He did not say that in any of these two videos. Now, you can say he said it later on. That too would be a contradiction. And you can point out contradiction and be okay with those contradictions. But the defense of him here does not make any sense. Your defense of him is saying there is an implied beautiful woman in this, and that he did not generalize in his statement, not only about Black women having the problem of not wanting ambition, but also he's telling this woman and the rest of the world that men don't make more than this, so you should not want ambition. How is this okay?
Because at the end of the day, wanting somebody that makes 80,000 is twice what the median salary of an average man makes. So saying that you want, because remember, if we go back to
that, he
was like 80,000, and she said, yeah, as long as he has ambition. At 80,000. 80,000 is the finished product. 40,000.
No, 80,000 is not the finished product. That is the finished product for you, but that's not here. That's a normative judgment on how much money this woman should want. No. Stop. You're making a normative judgment on what this woman should want. Okay, you did. You were talking about her weight and her looks. That is fine. I'm not going to get into this debate with you about her looks and what
we're talking about the salary cap. If average man
wait, stop. So we talked about that earlier, right? My problem is that he is contradicting himself, and you're telling me that this is not a contradiction, that I have taken it out of context. Correct. The thesis he made is that women, we know from Oshay Duke Jackson that he's talking about Black women, but he says women do not want to work with the man. They want the finished product, right? So
Right.
he is making a judgment on women, saying that they do not want to work with men. They don't want to build a man up or help the man build. They just want the finished product. All right, we agree on that. Here he's saying, you woman, you want someone with ambition, and that is a problem because there's no more money to be had, right? You are saying to me, those are not conflicting because of the
example that he gave, no, in this particular instance, because he mentioned $80,000. Now, if he had said, if you want somebody that's 40,000, right, and she said, Aliyah, as long as he has ambition, then okay, your point is made. But he specifically said $80,000, which is double the median salary that most men make. That's a finished product. If double the median salary for most men make is not a finished product,
I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing, and it's
but that's
it's important that you're doing it, but it's also inapplicable here, right? You're taking the statement of 80,000 as if that is something that she said, right? No, that was a suggestion by him.
But but that's how you gotta understand. That's how it's coming. You throw numbers out there to see.
You are contextualizing everything except that. And that's my problem. Like, it's also everyone become a statistician when it comes to pointing out flaws in women. Like, everyone is like, Black women are the least attractive on social media, not you. But no one point out the fact when we say where do Black men rank in terms, we don't know. So you definitely went out and looked for that statistic to point out. This is also what I'm talking about here. You can contextualize everything about Kevin Samuels in the positive, but you cannot recognize that in talking about this woman right now, he made the claim that, okay, $80,000 in his mind, probably, right, if we're going to do all the analysis that you're doing, $80,000 is a lot less, obviously, than $100K. And he's saying, okay, what about this? Would you take that? And she's like, yeah, I would. And I would work with him to be more.
Right. And at 80, and that's what you're saying, at 80K though, but 80K is double the amount that the average man makes. That's not a finished product. Like let's just talk based on arguments. We're not talking about statistics.
No, you see, that's what I'm saying. Stop. Because what you're doing is you're arguing against the premise. You're telling me that 80K should be a finished product and is a finished product and blah, blah, blah. And that's fine. No. That's fine if you believe that. That is not the argument being made, right? If he comes out, if Kevin Samuels comes out and says, hey, all these people that make $80,000, that is a finished product. That is what I'm premising my belief on. Black men should not, and men should not strive to make more than this. And this is where it ends for men. Then, okay, I'm not going to argue with, I'm going to say,
but that has been the premise of his whole channel, though.
No, it is not. It is not his premise. He's saying people, high value men are this, and then regular people make this amount of money, right?
Yeah.
Average.
So what is all right? So let's add context to that. What is his definition of a high value man?
I'm not going to get into this because he said $10,000 plus some other thing, $100,000 plus some other things. Right. But it seems like $100,000 is where it's at for him.
Right. So $10,000 a month, right? Somebody that brings value, somebody that's usable, is linked.
Yeah, no, we're not getting into that. You make your point.
But you understand what I'm saying? Like you can't say, okay, he's contradicting himself when he purposely threw out $80,000. He did that on purpose. You got to understand. Like I don't know if your viewers watch his content, but you have to watch his content. He purposely gives facts and numbers to see what a person would say. Now, I would agree with you 100%. Hold on. I would agree with your point 100% if he said $40,000 and she said, yeah, 40,000, but I'll have to work with him. But he purposely didn't say 40. He purposely said 80.
Well, we don't know if you're making
that's the difference.
Stop. You keep making normative judgment on his behalf, and this baffles me. Wait, stop.
It's not a normative judgment.
Can you stop? Like, just for a minute. Like, I think we're in debate mode, and because of that, you're arguing to win. I am listening and I'm talking back, but because you keep making normative judgment on Kevin Samuels, like you said, just now, he purposely threw out this and purposely didn't say something else. How do you know that?
Because he said that. If you go through his catalog, he said that in an
No,
interview. That
he did not say that. I watched this entire thing. He did not
no,
say
not
that.
not this particular video, but when you watch his catalog, he said in an interview that he puts out information to see what people would say. That's what he does, stuff like that. That's how he interacts with his viewers. So I am going based on the judgment of his whole entire catalog, including interviews. Even when if you look at the Vlad TV interview, he said he'll say certain things and he'll just see how people react, how they do this, how they do that. So I'm not making a normative judgment. He himself has said that in response to certain situations, right? Why would I? Your comments are funny. In response to certain situations, he does what he does, and he says certain things. Now, I understand the point that you're trying to make, and I'm listening to what you're trying. I'm not trying to argue to win or anything like that. But that is, I think that in context of the fact that this is what he's saying and this is what he did, you can't say that he's contradicting himself.
He is. You literally, like, you keep going back to the actual amount, which is interesting to me, and you keep missing the forest for the tree. His problem is that women don't want to date a man with ambition. They want the finished product, right?
Correct.
You are saying 80K is the finished product, correct? The problem is, for these women, 80K is not the finished product, and they do want to date with men with ambition. And he, in response to that woman who says, I don't mind dating someone with $80,000 as long as he has ambition, right? He said, that's the problem. Y'all want ambition. So in that, you want to contextualize it, and that's fine. And a lot of us become linguistic experts in defense of the people that we like, and that's fine. We should do that. People misspeak a lot of the time, so do that. But if you are not able, like right now, to sit there and say, okay, that is a contradiction, but in my interpretation, I contextualize it and I'm justifying it this way. So it doesn't seem a contradiction in my mind, but for the random person, an objective viewer can reasonably come to that conclusion, and most people would, that is a reasonable conclusion. When you say these women don't want ambition, and then you tell someone who is seeking ambition or an ambitious person, you are telling them, no, that's the problem with you. That's all you got. There's no more money to go around. It doesn't seem like your message is that Black women should find Black men and build, or women should find men and build with them. Like it doesn't seem like that's what you're saying. But Kevin Samuels, the statement he made, now you're saying you watched all his videos and you understand, so maybe you understand something, and I'll grant you that much. But when we look at these two statements, they are contradictory regardless of the context in these two videos, right? And he does not specify. Right. He made very general statements about Black women and Black men there. And then he made very general statements contradicting those previous statements on Vlad TV. And we haven't even brought Oshay Duke Jackson, but you didn't say anything about him, but you didn't even bring that in. So my thing is, you say you're not just a fan, but you said you watch all of his stuff, so I'm not going to make a normative judgment anymore, because you are here too watching my stuff. So it doesn't make sense to me that your argument is normatively about the finished product of a man. Like that kind of mental gymnastic is real. Like,
but it's not even mental gymnastics, though. If you're saying that the average that a person makes is 40, and somebody's making 80, then that's double the amount. That's double the average. The finished product in most situations is 40. The finished product that he mentioned was 80, and the person's response was, we're not talking about statistics now. We're just talking about thing. If what the norm is, if what what the norm of a situation is, and a person is producing double that norm, and your first response, your knee-jerk reaction is, okay, yes, I want double the norm, but the person has to do more. Let's remove statistics. Let's remove Kevin Samuels from it. And this is my point.
Before you go, thank you, Pinktel. Thank you so much. Continue.
My point is this. If we're talking about something, right? Let's say production, and somebody's looking for a producer, and the norm of a producer, let's say that globe that you have spinning behind you, right? And the globe that you have spinning behind you, a company produces it. The norm for companies producing it is 40,000 units, right? And a person is looking for a producer to produce that. And the producer that a person suggests produces double the amount of those 40,000 units. And the knee-jerk reaction of the person who's looking for a producer is, oh, well, yeah, that's cool, but the person would still have to produce more. That's an issue. That's a problem. That's a big problem. When normally the normal producer produced half, that's a problem. And that's what he took issue with. That has nothing to do with statistics. That's a problem in general. Even if you tell me that you're willing to work with the producer to produce even more than 80,000, that at its core is a problem.
All right, so your analogy does not work for a ton of reasons, but I want us to stop for a minute. I don't think I'm going to convince you otherwise, so let's really think about this, right? So if Kevin Samuels, and I want you to answer this for me, if Kevin Samuels just said there's no more money to be made, and you seem to agree, right? At 80,000, you have already made it. What are all these
I
men?
don't personally. That's why I said I'm not a Kevin Samuels.
No. That's fine.
And I don't.
That's fine. Wait, stop. What are these men doing trying to create high value men then?
Say it again.
Would that be a contradiction of the manosphere goal to create better men and quote unquote high value and high earning men?
What? I'm sorry.
Your statement now that 80K is it, right? And Kevin Samuel seemed to agree with you then because he just said, there is no more money to be made, verbatim, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that...
He said that to the 40, though. He didn't say that to the 80. And the 80 was just...
He did not say in California.
Huh? Say that again?
Did he just say in California?
No, I didn't say in California. I said that was... He did not say that to the 80. He said it to the 40. There was no more money to be made with the 40,000, the 40K.
No, he said it with the 80. No. We have
it.
Back.
Yeah. Because he said when he asked, he was like, the average man makes 40K.
Yeah.
There's no more money. He's like, there's no more money to be made. He wasn't talking about the 80. He went all the way down to 40.
Wait, let's see. Because actually, if he says 40 and there's no more, that actually really hurts your point. So let's hope for your sake he didn't say 40. If he did, I'll explain why.
$1,000. There's no more money. There's no more ambition. We know where this goes now. Something's wrong with your speaker. No, the average black man in this country earns $42,000.
Nothing.
There's no more money. There's no more ambition.
No. Yeah, so good. No, wait. There is no more money to be made. Please. Right. The manosphere is here telling us there's more money to be made. That's the premise of their channel.
Say that again?
The manosphere is here to tell us that we can all be high value, which is definitely not the case, right? And
we're not juxtaposing it into the manosphere. We talking
we are. You see, that's the problem. You come on and you say we should contextualize. Let's contextualize.
Are we contextualizing it to a specific situation, or are we contextualizing it to the manosphere as a whole? Because there's different types of context. There's different layers of context.
Yes, and there are different layers of context here, but you did not.
So I'm asking you, because this is your show, what are we contextualizing it to? The manosphere in general? Or
let's pick a random. Wait, stop. The roommate, their entire platform, right, is about building high value men.
The roommates, okay.
It is about, you don't have to know them. It is
about.
I
told you I listen to everybody.
Yeah, well, it is about building high value men, right? If there is no more money to be made, what is the purpose of these channels that are not just the roommate, but all these channels building high value men?
But okay, so Kevin Samuels said there's no more money to be made. In the situation that he posed to her, he wasn't saying that there's absolutely no more money to be made.
Okay, it's not the finished product. So it is not the finished product.
Wait, what? It's not about finished product. It's if this person makes 40K and they're not looking to improve themselves in any way. That's a new finished product.
Wait, stop. You see what you're doing? You're jumping in and out. You're jumping in and out of context, right? So here's the first thing you just said, right? Let's contextualize it. You come on, we're contextualizing it. He tells this woman 80K, right? She says, okay, fine, as long as they have ambition. You came on and you said that is a finished product, right? But then you said, when I asked you specifically, is that a finished product to you? You then said, no, it is not a finished product to me, right? So you're saying that the average woman, right, if she is quote unquote average, right, that her saying that she wanted 80K, a man who makes 80K, and that's fine if he has ambition, you're saying that is not contradictory because what?
I'm saying it's not contradictory, but contradictory in whose part? Because we were talking about the contradictory of Kevin Samuels.
Yes.
So what a woman saying that she wants 80K and wants to work with a person is not contradictory because I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be funny or anything, but you really kind of lost me. What do
you just said that her wanting a man with ambition at 80K is the finished product. This is what Kevin Samuels said. But while he
the finished product, but he just posted that as a number that was something that a person would.
No. But you keep saying, oh, let's contextualize it. Kevin Samuels tells men that they should become high value, and this is how you become high value.
Correct. Well,
okay, so no, stop, because Kevin Samuels tells men they should be high value, right? He teaches men sometime, image consultant, but he does tell men to get jobs and get money and whatever and become high value. I've had the debate where people pull up videos of him dragging men to become high value and how to do it, even though there's only a little bit of men, right? So if we didn't have to go to the roommate, but I wanted to go. No, stop. No, this is a build-up. No, stop. This was a build-up. Kevin Samuels himself, you just said it is a contradiction for someone like Hafiz and the roommate to be telling, but that's not in the context of Kevin Samuels. We're contextualizing Kevin Samuels. So let's contextualize Kevin Samuels. He teaches men to be high value too. So why is he teaching men to be high value when he's telling them, when you are telling me there's no more money?
That's not the premise of his content. He doesn't.
I don't care about the premise of his content.
But that's what I'm saying. You can't label Kevin Samuels as somebody who teaches men to be high value when that's not what he does.
No, he doesn't. He
doesn't do that. He doesn't at all. So
that's
what I'm saying. You got if we could.
No. Wait. So are you backtracking now from your first statement that he does?
No, I never said that he does. I never said Kevin Samuels teaches men to be high value. I never said that.
So literally, you just said yes to the question, but let's chalk it up to a mistake. Continue.
Yeah. So.
And he does. I'm looking at the video, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking up the video.
No problem. But Kevin Samuels never said that he teaches men to be high value. He did at one point make content that was talking to men about stuff like that. But Kevin Samuels is known for.
See, no, I don't understand you guys. I really don't. Like, I'm just gonna. You do realize the mental gymnastic. You're not on screen, so there should be no embarrassment in saying, "Oh yeah, I get it. I'm wrong," because you just said. You said Kevin Samuels doesn't tell men how to be high value, right? That's not the premise of his channel. I said, yeah, I know, I don't care about the premise of his channel, right? He does. And you said, no, he doesn't. And then you come back and you say, oh yeah, at one point he used to do it, but he doesn't do it anymore. I don't care what he doesn't do anymore. This is what he did. So was he lying then? Is he lying now? Like, there is some contradiction. I don't understand, and I'm frustrated because I don't understand the mental gymnastics
It's not
happening
mental
here.
gymnastics. So let me explain it then, so that we don't have any mental gymnastics.
All right.
A person, right, can lay down a foundation for this is what a high value man is, right? Those are rules. He said he has his own list of things that this is what constitutes a high value man, right?
Yeah.
But to teach a person means to tell people, okay, if you want to be a high value man, this is what you do. This is what you do this, you do that. That's not the content that Kevin Samuel makes. He makes content asking women, if you want a high value man, what are you going to do to get a high value man? That is the content that he makes.
All right. So let me just say something. If I say my content is actually about politics, right? And I do some social commentary, am I not responsible for the commentary that I make on these manosphere people? Am I now not responsible because I am not that creator?
I mean, you're responsible for everything that you say.
Exactly. So why do you think it is important now to point out that that is not the premise of his channel? I don't care about the premise of his channel. This is what they are doing. They are teaching men how to do this. They're teaching women how to do that. And so for me, if your content is didactic in any way, then I am going to want to understand, right? If you are teaching someone something, then I'm going to want to understand. So you saying that this is not his content, you didn't just say that as a random fact in a conversation. You said that to say that he should not be responsible for what he says to men, because that's not what he does.
No, he's responsible for everything that he says to men, and I know he's.
Right. So now we are back in the contextualizing.
Okay.
He teach men how to be high value. He said there's not much money around, and so this is a problem.
Teach men how to be high value. So saying that it's not what he does. I mean,
Well, he did it once. You just agreed that he did it after a lot of talking to.
I admitted that he used to speak to men about what they need to do, but that's not teaching you. Like, for example.
Yes, it is teaching. It is.
Okay,
teaching.
so let me ask you this, right?
You are telling me stop. No. There is no. Please just accept this right now. Please accept it.
No, if you're gonna let me make my point, then I'll make my point.
No.
But you can't just accept something. If I am telling you, right? If I'm telling you, you need to go buy a car or you need to drive a car, is that teaching you how to drive a car?
If you are telling me
you need to drive a car.
No. If you are telling me, right, how I could go about getting a car, what the policy is.
He's not doing that. He's telling you need to drive a car. The video that he became famous for, that everybody talks about, him talking to the guy, he doesn't tell the guy what he needs to do. He's like, are you fat? Then you need to lose weight. Are you this?
That's what he said. He's teaching.
That's not teaching. That's just telling you what you need to do. He's not teaching the guy how to lose weight. So you can't say that he's
No.
Roommates are different. They
Sir.
Yeah.
Let me explain something to you about didactic methodology, right? If he says you need to lose weight, you are right. He is not teaching him how to lose weight. If he's saying you need to lose weight if you want to do something else, which is become a high value man, he is teaching them how to become a high value man through losing weight. They can find an expert who can then teach them how to lose weight. But if he's telling you you need to do this to do that, then that is didactic. That is, I am just at a loss. You narrowcasted for your observation right now. You narrowcasted what it means to teach in the context of Kevin Samuels telling men to lose weight. You were saying, yeah, he didn't teach them how to lose weight, and yes, that's true. But that's not what the teaching was about. That was the class. The class was about becoming a high value man. Part of what you have to do is lose weight. Now, do you understand that?
No, I understand what you're saying.
All right.
I don't believe that it's didactic if somebody's pointing out flaws. But
do you know what?
That's something that we can agree to disagree on. I'm not gonna argue.
No, it's not. No, this is not like is not something we can agree to disagree on. It's important that we are thinking, and I'm not going to change your mind, right? Like, your mind is not going to be changed. But I did all of that because I thought at some point we would get to the build up to the crescendo, but I'm not even going to hammer this home, right? Because I needed you to understand that when you say Kevin Samuels is saying 80K, right? We did all of that mental work just now to point out that 80K for Kevin Samuels is not the end goal. So when you came up here and you said we need to contextualize it and say, for Kevin Samuel, he meant 80K and that was the end goal. That was not true. And if he believed that was true, and if you believe that was true, then why is he telling you to become high value, or telling you how to be high value, right? This is important. These things are important when you think about why it is that you are so willing to contextualize everything he does. That's important versus why you will not contextualize everything everyone else does. Right? Like, this is cognitive dissonance.
There's no cognitive dissonance in what I'm doing. I'm just
no, it is. Everyone has it.
Conversation with you about something like for example, if there is something that I see that I don't agree with, I'm willing to, because you said it more than once, that you can't change my mind. But it's not that I came up here with a belief that I'm not open-minded to having a discussion. That's why we're having a discussion. The reality is that you just haven't made any points to allow me to sway my thinking.
No,
because we've just been running back and forth between the context of this and the context of that and this, that, and the other. And my point when I came up here was to simply tell you that in that particular situation, that is the example that he used. That's the number that he used. But if we're gonna go,
no. See,
Kevin Samuel as a whole.
I am not. Stop.
I'm trying to be respectful to you.
Let me explain something. Please don't talk over me. When you say, oh, you come up here and you came up here and the content creator, I am trying to contextualize this and I'm trying to contextualize that. It is important for you to remember that you were the one who came up trying to contextualize something.
Correct.
Yes. And now you have a problem. And now you have a problem with me further contextualizing. So now how does that make sense to you?
I don't have a problem with you further contextualizing.
No, you did.
Contextualization. I don't have a problem with you further contextualizing. I have no problem with it. It's just that, again, your contextual, because anybody can contextualize anything, but if your contextualization is out of context or your contextualization is incorrect, then yeah, I'm gonna have a problem with it. You're operating from the point, and I have respect for your show because I know you're a black man and you're a creator, and I like that. I like to see black men creating content. But at the end of the day, the reality is that you expect that however you contextualize it is the way that it is.
No. That's
the point of reference that you're moving from.
Stop, wait. I don't mind if
I'm trying to have a conversation with you, and it's like,
what is it like?
You don't let me finish my points, and then you take wildly out of context. Now I understand that you have a certain audience that you're trying to reach, or you have people that appreciate what you do and whatever, but the reality is, if we're going to take context into the situation, then let's take the whole context of what Kevin Samuels is as a content creator. If we're going to do that, then that's fine. If we're not going to do that, and we're going to take the context of that particular episode where he was talking to that woman, then let's do that. But let's not jump in and out of context. That's what I want to establish. And let's not jump from Kevin Samuels, this individual, what he says to that person.
You keep saying I interrupt you, and I do interrupt because you keep going off in a way that is not germane to the conversation at hand. And the thing that I want to do is, let's start over, right? Let's start over. Please jump in when I'm wrong about a position. Wait, no. Jump in when I'm wrong and stop me, and then I'll stop, right? I have a good enough memory to do this, right? Kevin Samuels says, black women, right? Women don't want men with ambition. They want the finished product, right?
Right.
But he didn't say finished product. They don't want to work with men, right? All right.
Right.
Oshay Duke Jackson said they want the finished product. All right.
Let's not
Kevin Samuels on his show says to this woman, hey, you want 100K. Would you settle for a man who makes 80K? She says, yeah, I would date a man with 80K and if he has ambition. She goes, hey, he goes, that's the problem. Y'all always want men with ambition. There's no more money to be made. All right, let's not contextualize that. Let's look at that. Look on that at face value. Do you see a contradiction there? Hello?
Yeah, no, I'm here.
At face value, do you see a contradiction there? No contextualizing. Do you see a contradiction there? This should be an easy yes.
Yeah, there is somewhat of a contradiction.
All right. And so you contextualized it, right? You're saying, okay, but what he means by that is that 80K means that there is nowhere else to go for a man, right?
Well, I wasn't saying that there was nowhere else to go.
But
I was
what
saying, no context, but what I'm saying is, he said that, she said, all right, so he said, based on what you said, he said it's 80K. He threw out the number 80K. She said, okay, if 80K, if I'm willing to work with, and I'm willing to work with him if he, to do more or whatever. He said, but 40, that's the problem because 40K is the median. 40K being the median is half of 80K. Yeah, okay, Josh angles, that's funny. So 40K, he said 40K is the median and there's no more money to be made, right? I would say this, if we take that as face value, that conversation, right? It sounds contradictory.
All right.
I'll admit that. But can I say one thing? Is that okay?
No, please.
All right. If we go back to what he's asked her before, he was like, what do you do? And she said, I live at home. And I'm saving money to work on a business. Then it adds a certain level of, okay, so this is what you're looking for, this is what you're going to get, and, but go ahead, make a point.
No, I just asked you the question. What are you saying about 80K? I need you to say explicitly.
Well, 80K, is double the median.
No. So you said earlier that there's no more money. People have made it. That's what Kevin Samuel is saying.
A finished product. Yeah, he presented 80K. He presented 80K and that particular situation as a finished product. He presented 80K as a finished product.
Yeah, that's what he did.
Right.
Are you in your opinion of Kevin Samuels? You're saying that Kevin Samuels means that men can't make 80K is a finished product.
No, he wasn't saying that men in general. He was talking to that specific person in that specific situation. The 80K was the number that he used.
No, but you pointed out that he went and said, "Oh, there's 50K. The average income is 40K.
The average is 40.
Yeah,
and there's more money to be made for the 40.
And there's no more money to be made. Wait, and there's no. It's interesting because you pointed that out. I don't know if you knew how badly that hurt your point, but when he said that, he's speaking now generally about income in the United States.
Right.
So what he said was, what are you saying in terms of 80K? Like, why do you think 80K is why do you think Kevin Samuels think 80K is a finished product?
I don't think he thinks 80K is a finished product.
Wait, that's what you said though.
No, what I said is that.
So if 80K is not the finished product, all right. So we agree now that 80K is not the finished product. Kevin Samuels didn't say 80K is a finished product. Got it.
He did.
You're on the same page, right? So if the woman says, yes, with 80K and ambition, that's fine with me. And then he says, That's the problem. You want ambition, there's no more money to be made. And then he goes on another show and says the problem with black women is that they do not want men with ambition. They want the finished product. We just admit that 80K is not the finished product,
Correct.
and there's more. So isn't that a contradiction?
In that particular situation, no. Is it a general contradiction? Yes, I'll agree that. If we're taking it as a
Yeah, that's
general,
what I mean. It is a contradiction.
but then the minutia of it is that he was speaking to a particular person, because here's the thing.
By the way, yeah, someone said 80. Sorry, someone said 80K is good. I am not making a normative judgment on how much money people make.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not doing that. But the thing about it is, we can't. So he's speaking to a particular person. Now, the reason where I would agree with you, and this is where we would agree, if Cameron Samuels was, you know how I don't know if you watch any of his episodes, but there's episodes where he just talks to the camera. If he was talking to the camera and he said, "Hey, 40K is thing, and there's no more money to be made, and that's it," then I would have no disagreement with what you're saying, because he would be making out, but he wasn't talking to the camera. He was talking to a specific person.
You interpreted what Kevin Samuel said in this to mean that there is no more money to be made for any man that's going to date you.
No, I interpreted it as he was trying to see what she wanted. What did she want out of a person? What was the production value of a man that she wanted? And when given the background that she had, given that she lived at home with her parents and she was saving money to do her business and this, that, and the other, he found, and this is my interpretation, I can't speak for Kevin Samuels, so I'm not trying.
No. You are speaking for Kevin Samuels. That's the whole point of this. But I'm glad you just did that, because that's important. So I like that you were saying, okay, this is me. And I don't agree with people like dragging you in the comments, by the way. I think that it is brave for you to even come up here. And so I do have I'm yelling a little bit. It's not your fault. I'm going, my neck is in pain, so I apologize. I do appreciate your willingness to converse. It is not easy, and to think on the spot is not easy. So you're doing great, by the way. Just FYI. Yeah.
It's no problem. I mean, I don't even remember what was I saying. No, but I don't think, I think in that particular situation, the context of that conversation, I don't think that we should judge what he says in the context of that particular conversation as an overall thesis for his argument. The reason why I say that is because there are other episodes where he's spoken to women and they have said, like, I remember this one girl came on, a young girl, she was like in her early 20s. And she was like, I like this guy and he has potential and he has this, but I want to get married. And he's like, what does he do? And she, he was in a job, but he had plans, and he was like, no. He's like, don't date her. If I was your father, I'll tell him, don't date him. You know what I mean? Find somebody who's established. Find somebody. So I think you can't. My issue was that if you take a conversation he has with a particular person and use that as his overall thesis, then you're doing him an injustice. Because when he talks about it, he says different things depending on the situation.
I would generally agree with you, but the problem here is that he was saying it as a general statement, right? And maybe we as a Black community aren't very good at articulating ourselves, and so he might have misspoke. But here he said, that's the problem. You always want women with y'all always want men with ambition, right? And you all want to build a man or whatever, right? That's not a singular statement. That is not just saying, hey, you person, you individually, you don't deserve a high value man because you're average. No man who is going to be potentially making more money will ever want you. And if a man wants you at 80K, that's it. You cannot help him. You won't increase his money because of you, right? So that's how you're narrow casting what is being said. When I don't even think he believes that. There is not someone else here. I think Dean came to help you. I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right, let's go. Dean.
Hey, Themis.
Hey,
Am I coming in clear?
you are. You are.
So, and I've been,
Wait, before you go,
yeah.
Jaren, I saw you in the comments, and we can talk after this. But yes, go ahead, Dean.
So I think that sometimes the way how you characterize the Black manosphere, I think it has some holes in it. I'm going to give some healthy criticism. Hopefully, it's healthy criticism.
No. Before you do, I agree that my criticism have holes. When I talk about the manosphere, I'm talking about a very specific group in the manosphere, not the manosphere itself. And I think I need to be clearer on that. That's the first thing. But I also recognize that they are the biggest and loudest voices in the manosphere. But go ahead with your criticism.
So you admit that you don't watch much of the content, right?
I watch a lot of the content, actually.
Okay, that's different from what I've heard in the past.
Wait, no, I've never said I don't watch a lot of. There are people in the manosphere that I don't know, as like there are people just generally on YouTube that I don't know. But go ahead.
Well, so when it comes to O'Shea, for example, if you've watched a decent amount of O'Shea, you'd know that you'd know his passion for the diaspora and the continent, and that he has a
stop. I'm gonna stop you there and say I've heard O'Shea talk about how much he loves Black people. The way he treats Black women, particularly in his thumbnail, in his community tab, and then in his content, I would actually not agree with his statement that he loves Black people. I would say he loves Black men. Continue.
So I'm glad that you brought that up again. So are you saying he doesn't do the same type of thumbnails and jokes about Black men? Because I could tell you with 100, I could put money on that. He does the same. He criticizes himself. Like I was on his channel roasting him. He used to have this roast me session.
Yeah,
So,
no. He does roast himself. I accept that. When it comes to roasting, like literally a woman came out and said Chris Brown hit her, and he was like talking about it in a way that made Chris Brown out to be the victim because people know his past, and so they believe him when he didn't hit her. And he said verbatim that he didn't hit her, as opposed to it's more than likely that he didn't hit her. So anyway, continue. I don't agree with your estimation on him, but continue.
Right. So you don't like the content, and you don't like the it's okay to not like the content, but I'm saying how you're characterizing it as he hates Black women.
I never said he hates Black women. I said he loves Black people, and I said I would rephrase that to saying he loves Black men.
Okay, so maybe I'm doing some mathematics there and drawing conclusions that maybe you're not saying. Maybe you're saying he's indifferent.
I wouldn't say he hates Black women, particularly because I watched a video where he said what Cynthia G did when he brought that white man on to disparage Black men, that he didn't think that was okay because he wouldn't have done that to Black women. So you can make a sort of reference point at a video from me about him, but I have never said that he hates Black women, and I did not mean when I removed Black women from him liking Black community that he hated Black women. I did not mean that.
And that's fair. I think maybe what I'm doing is imposing certain comments I'm hearing on you, and I apologize for that. Because I don't think it's fair to say that the Black manosphere hates Black women. They have grievances, and that's their place for doing their grievances. Women have their grievances, and they have their place for doing their grievances. And but I will say this: if we're talking about toxicity, you know, I think it's dangerous to play this game where Black women are sanctimonious in some ways, because we all have our issues and we're all a work in progress. And I'm
Yeah.
not trying to gaslight. I'm just
No. I don't think you're wrong on this. I think the black community, including Black women and Black men, have a ton of issues that we need to fix, right? I think though, Black men particularly do not have the right, in my opinion. This is a judgment that you can hold me on and drag me on. I don't think Black men has the right to drag Black women, particularly to drag Black women publicly about education and about economics, when the gap, the wage gap is super close, right? 95 to 100, closer than any other community. Black women are graduating at a higher rate than Black men. They are getting employed at a higher rate than Black men. They're in the law and medicine at a higher rate than Black men. I think that we as men need to focus on us and developing us first, because it doesn't make sense to be attacking the people doing great in our community. And there are Black men doing amazing.
I have one issue with that.
Go ahead.
While I agree with you, I do also think that we're both culpable, Black women as well, because, you know, like, and this is where I think the manosphere became a thing, because Black women have dragged Black men for forever. So as long as I've been in this country, it's always men ain't, I don't want to curse on your platform, but men ain't ish, and men don't do this, and men don't do that, and Black men ain't this, and Black men ain't that, and that's the whole reason why we are and that's the reason why I came on your show, because I don't like that. You know what I mean? Like, as a Black man, you don't want that, but it's this adversarial nature. So you're saying that, oh well, Black women are doing this and they're doing that and they're making, but at the end of the day, Black women benefit more from this system that we have than Black men do. And women are not going to like to hear that, but the reality is, I work in HR, I've worked in HR, and a company would rather hire a Black woman than a Black man, even if they're both equally educated, because, and there's studies that prove it, because when you hire a Black woman, you check off two boxes. You hire a woman and you hire somebody that's Black. So
okay, that is a white supremacist. No, that is a white supremacist talking point, if I've ever heard any. But no, it's not true either. For companies that do want to make this visual kind of appeal to diversity, sure, right? Actually, white women benefit the most from these diversity programs, but we're not going to get into that. Your point, though, that Black women benefit more from the system is not true. And it is not true. There are things changing now, particularly because of the Me Too movement, but we can talk about how that only affects white women disproportionately in the most positive way. But when we talk about the system, you would have to believe that we live in a matriarchy in order to also believe that women out-earn, and not out-earn, but do better than men, right? The wage gap still exists. Black women, for all the strive that they make, still make less than Black men. That probably will change in the next 10 years, in this generation. And Black men so
But
Black men, the thing that Black men like the most is the thing that actually hurts them, and by that I mean what I've heard from some people in the manosphere about them being appealing sexually. The one part of that is bad, a lot of it is bad, but that's really bad is when it comes to the criminal justice system. Black men have taken hold of this masculine, in the most overt sense of the word, characteristic. And in so doing, they are actually diminishing their image. Now, if you're talking about the criminal justice system, I would agree with you that Black men feel worse in terms of outcome when it comes to the criminal justice system.
Right. But also, but let's move away from that. How many shelters for women are there that who experience abuse, physical abuse?
There's a lot of shelters for women who experience physical abuse.
How many shelters are there for men?
Don't do it. Don't do it. I think you should withdraw that statement.
How many? How many?
I
You
think
know,
you should.
how many shelters are there for men who experience physical abuse?
Not a lot.
There's one.
Not a
Absolutely
lot.
one. No, not a lot. There's one.
No, there's more than one.
Literally one.
I know two in DC. But now you hear this. I told you to withdraw that comment because I didn't want to go there, because I don't want this to turn into a black man or man bashing issue.
But yeah, that's the thing, and that's the
No. But you did. You did bring it up, and I told you to withdraw it, and you didn't. So now we are here.
Right.
Who are abusing whom?
Both parties are abusing each other, and that's
No.
the thing.
No.
Yeah, that's the thing. Just because it's
Absolutely
registered
not.
doesn't mean it
These
doesn't
are
happen.
statistics. Please, this is not a matter of opinion. When it comes to abuse, not only are black women disproportionately affected, right, and are abused, they are also the least likely to turn in their abusers. So when we talk about why there are more shelters for black women for abuse, the reason they are is because men are abusing these women. Now, I'm not saying men don't get abused. I literally read a chapter in this that talked about the woman spitting on the man and throwing hot water on him. So I do recognize that that happens. But let's be clear. And when I was in law school, I did family law as a course, and we talked about like the divorce and the no-fault divorce and why that was so important for women to leave abusive relationship. Let me explain to you this. If you learn nothing else from this live, know this. Black women deal with a ton of trauma from abuse at a rate that no other woman in the history of America faces. So let's be clear about that.
Arguing that.
No.
I'm not
You're
saying
not arguing that. I'm bringing it up because you asked why there were so many abuse centers for women and not enough for men. And
Right.
this is not about you. I'm going to use your point to jump off to a broader point about the manosphere, and then we'll get back to Dean. Because Dean is criticizing me for the manosphere, and I think some of what he hasn't really criticized me yet. I've admitted to where I'm wrong, and we're fine. So I'm here for all of it. The thing is, one of the problem with some people, Dean, in the manosphere is this need to be perpetual victims, right? And it's not victim to the wide patriarchy. It's not victims to the wide system. It's not victim to the criminal justice system, which we should be talking about, right? It is victims of black women. And this is ridiculous to me that at the same time we're talking about alphas and leaders, these people are wanting to be coddled in this way. Now, if you really want to know my ideas on this, it is simply, I do think that the rigid gender roles that we have and we are trying to reinforce on men keep them in a box that does not allow them to fully express their humanness, their personhood. And so I think men should complain. I think men should feel. I think fathers on Father's Day should get that teddy bear and get that flowers and whatever else they want. I think it is important that men are able to experience a full range of emotions, right? But at the same time that these men are telling us that they're alphas and they're this and men are this and tap into your divine masculine and all that, they're still telling us that they want to be all these things too, and experience the full spectrum of emotion, but they also want women to be subservient to them. And if you are willing to disrupt the gender roles, which I know a lot of people aren't because it works in their benefit, particularly men, it does harm them too. But
wait, hold on. You're saying that gender roles work more to the benefit of men than women?
I think the gender role society, yes.
You think so?
I do think so. The men created these weren't created, like the American, as Kevin Samuels would say, men created this. I think he should have said white men created these systems in America, because I promise you, and this is the conversation that I did not want to get into, right? But let's do it. these colonial kind of phraseologies where people are like, oh, men created this, and these systems and business were created by men. Yet we acknowledge the discriminatory nature of these businesses. We acknowledge how bad they are for Black men. We talk about these things and they are true. And yet you stake claim to these systems in place saying, we built this, putting yourself in alignment with the men that you say are abusing you or marginalizing you. Like, why would you do that? I don't understand it. I don't understand any of it.
Well, at the end of the day, I mean, you're right. It's not really something this is not what I got on here for. But my view on it is this: if you're in a system, and yes, the system may be marginalizing, or I'm gonna address that. What the comment, the classic Yaya, I'm gonna address it in 1 second. But what option does a person have if this is the system that they're in? You know what I mean? Like, if you're at the bottom of a system, an economic system, you have to figure out a way to make it to that system to have enough economic clout, and I'm just using the words loosely, economic clout, to be able to create your own system. A system cannot create it out of nothing. So, you know, based on what you just said, in response to what you just said, you know, yeah, you could complain about the system. You can complain about the particular system, but at the same time, as a Black man, you have to figure out and navigate your way through that system till you have enough money, power, and influence as a community to be able to change the system. So that's why people are stuck in the system, but they complain about it. That's just how I see it.
Yeah, I am with you. By the way, before you go, I need to respond to that. The classic Black women speaking on the reality of the Black men in their life is not degrading to the community. It is their truth and reality. So if that is all you hear,
yeah. But so in response to that, my thing.
Wait, no. Please don't respond to that, because I want to touch on something you say that is really important, and I agree. I do think we need to make strides, and we have to develop in the system in order to go against the system. I think it's super important. But why then are we bashing women, and you didn't do this, for wanting men to be more and do more? And why do we bash women who are doing more? That's not a question for you to answer. It's a rhetorical question.
I can give my opinion on it, but you know.
No. But I think that it's super important that we are uplifting each other, right? And I don't think that is happening. But I want Dean to continue, because I always say critique me. So I am looking for these critiques. By the way, Erica is here. Thank you for being here. Go ahead, Dean.
Well, I didn't want to. This is kind of. I feel bad coming in to continue talking now, because I don't agree with playing the victim Olympics type of game.
Oh, good.
And it's like super triggering. So like any commentary that I might have in support of the Black Manosphere, that would probably be overshadowed by what was previously discussed. So
I think this might be, because we disagree on a lot, apparently, Dean, but I think this might be probably why we connect well, because we have, I think, for me, this is a fundamental thing, and I think we connect here. Is that fair to say? Wait.
Sure.
Is that fair to
I would say so. You talk when you say connect here on what was just previously discussed.
Yeah, on victimhood.
100%. And believe it or not, this is what I was trying to. This is the criticism I had. You know, that people are individuals, and just because there's one segment of someone saying one thing, like I wouldn't necessarily classify your channel as a divestment channel.
No,
because I was here. I've been on your channel when you were analyzing Justin Timberlake and Brandon Tatum and et cetera, et cetera. But you know, if you're to just look at a window of time for the last month, someone would say, "Oh, this is a divestment channel." But that's not fair, you know. So that was my criticism. But back to what you said, we are in alignment on the victim Olympics thing. That's just, you know, I don't know. I can't. I've got nothing to say.
I have a question about that.
Go ahead.
What is victim Olympics? I'm not really familiar with the term.
Oh, it is just saying, oh, woe is me, and I am more victimized than you, and this is why
Okay,
I'm more
I get what you're
victimized than
saying.
you.
I get what you're saying. To go back to what we were talking about earlier, though, and not the victim thing, but I, the the problem I have is that, like you made the point about bashing black women and stuff like that, right? And I don't believe in bashing black women. I don't believe in bashing anybody. The issue that I have though is that now that you have people in the manosphere that are coming out and saying controversial stuff about women, it's an issue. But you have people who have been in the womanosphere, for want of a better term, who have been bashing black men and been bashing men in general for years, and it's never been an issue. Women have never come out and say, well, you shouldn't say this or you shouldn't say that, because that's not true. I have a husband, I have a this, he's not like that. So, and I think that's the triggering thing. I can't speak for everybody, but for me, it's a little triggering, because it's like Kevin Samuels comes out and all the women have an issue with what he says and how he speaks and this, that, and the other. And I'm not saying that I agree with everything that he says, or do I agree with his delivery or whatever. I'm not thinking that. I'm not really like a fan. Like I said, I listen to everybody. But where are the same people when you have people like Shira Seven talking about using men and getting what you want from a man, and how to get a man to spend all this money on you even though you don't like him? And where are all the women checking those people? Because the thing that I've heard since I've been in this country is, or if you have a friend as a black man, if you know that your boy is an abuser, then you need to check your boy. If you know your boy does this, then you need to check it. So my thing is, and I think the premise is, and the reason why it's such a divide, is that black men now, especially with social media and being able to connect, we're turning around and saying, well, why you don't check your girl? You know your girl don't like this guy, and you know your girl is using this guy for his money and his resources, but she don't care about him. Why you don't check her? But they don't.
So let me concede that there are. Someone told me, I didn't see this, that someone said black men are bullet bags, and that statement by someone on the chat a time ago shook me to my core, that someone would actually say that. So let's say that these are the large voices in the womanosphere. Let's say that, and men are now reacting. Do you think it is appropriate, and I'm not making a judgment with what you say on this, do you think it is appropriate that men who are supposed to be the leaders in the black community, if we're supposed to take them at their word, do you think it's right for them to be talking publicly about women not be bashing women in reaction to that?
On a binary level, I would say no. But on a human level, I would say you cannot police a person's reaction to your actions. Meaning, you can't smack somebody in the face and tell them, oh no, you can't pull out a gun and shoot me. You must smack me back in the face. And that's, I think, is the issue. We cannot, as a community, allow women to say whatever they want about black men, and then turn around and when black men respond, because it's male nature to respond not in equal kind, but in above and beyond, in excessive kind. That's how we respond. So you can't now turn around and be mad that men are responding in excessive kind.
Wait. Let me be clear. You're saying that you don't think it's right, but it's human nature.
Exactly. I don't think it's right, but at the end of the day, I understand why, because for years, women have been silent while other women have bashed men, used men, made songs about men, and all this other stuff. So it's like, now that men are speaking out and men have a voice, now all of a sudden you wanna have an issue with what men say. And to me, it's like, okay, fine, I don't mind you having an issue with what men say, but where are you? Where were you when there was time for you to check your female friends? Because when
I would rather you stop there, because I don't want it to start sounding like you're approving of men bashing women.
No, I don't. But at the same time, you got to understand that the accountability has to be had on both spectrums. As
Yeah,
a man, I
the,
would hold accountability for men bashing women,
yeah,
but
the
where
way
are the
the
women
way
willing
the
to hold
whole
accountability for women bashing men? You understand?
Yeah. So in this way, then men have not, if these are the kinds of human-based nature things that happen, then we have not yet developed the correct mechanisms to deal with. And I think you're right on this point. Not that human nature. I
Yeah.
think that we have not grown up enough. We don't have the emotional maturity to be able to build ourselves up in response to someone talking poorly about us, that we have to also get down in the dirt. The problem is the premise of that statement is incorrect. When you talk about women making songs about men and bashing men, we already had this conversation about who started what. And particularly who has power in the hip hop community to do what. And it's interesting. I don't want to get too much into it, so
Well,
I'm going to accept your premise that women did it first, but we know that that's not the case. Particularly, you said
it's not about first. It's not about who did it first. That's not my
yeah,
premise. My
no,
premise
yeah, you're right. No, I'm not arguing your point. I just wanted to point that out, so
yeah,
people
yeah,
don't
okay.
think I'm accepting this. But let's assume arguendo, and we take your thing to the logical extreme. So men are hurt by what women say. They drag women. What do you think the response is going to be on the female side?
Um, Say that again. I'm sorry.
On a human level, as you just explained, human nature, what do you think is going to happen on the female side in reaction to men
The
doing?
reaction is going to be negative.
All right, and then it's going to be more negative.
Mhm.
Whose responsibility is it, do you think, to stop? Because
Both.
I would say both.
Both.
You said both. All right.
Both. 100%.
So men aren't the leaders then.
Well, what are we going on? Because now we go back between, are we talking about traditional or are we talking about modern? Because if we go
I'm
by
talking
modern
about modern.
standards,
I'm talking about leadership. Who
no,
is
but
leading?
by whose standards? The standards of leadership are
Tell
dictated.
me.
Are we talking about modern? Because modern women want to be equals. In traditional settings, men are the leaders.
All right.
So if we're talking about modern, which most women say they are, they're modern women, then the leadership roles falls on both parties because we're equals.
All right.
If men and women are equals, then there's no person who's the particular leader. Everybody has to do their part.
All right. So it is women are the leaders, or they both are equal.
Yeah, we're
Because,
equal.
all right. So
It's not
there's
about women are the leaders or men are the leaders. We're
no.
equal.
I'm not arguing with you. I like that you say this. So there are no leaders. Men and women are equal, and no men should not be leading women because apparently men cannot lead themselves in terms of emotional regulation. Would you agree with that statement?
I wouldn't agree with it. I think men that can lead themselves in terms of emotional regulation, but I think that it's unfair to expect a person to always, because you see the premise of what you're saying is that a person who has the role of leadership is always supposed to be the person to have regulation, and
Yes.
it's and
That is
and
the
but
that is the
that's not
problem. No. I think
that's theoretical. That's
no,
not. There's no
that's not
leader.
theoretical.
You
Let me
cannot-
explain something. The
There's-
problem is we all talk about leadership, and we talk about it in this myopic way where the leader gets the food and you follow the leader. No, the leader sacrifices.
Right,
And that's
but
what, that's important. No. Wait, stop. That is important. That is super important. Because if you take on the mantle of being a leader, it comes with responsibility. You do not get and you cannot afford to have these emotional outbursts against the people you are supposed to be leading. So, yes, leadership is super important on this point. So I am not a part of the group that believes that men are the leader and women are naturally followers. I don't believe any of that, right? I believe they're both equal. So I think there are differences, but I think they're equal. But for a lot of you who talk about men being the leader, for you to also accept, and you didn't, so I'm appreciating this, but so don't try to justify it later. I appreciate that you say men and women are equal. There's no leader. Great, because obviously there's no leader if men are just going to be online just shouting whatever they want to shout, and doing whatever they want to do in response to what they believe women to be doing online. You are just you are, both of y'all are equal in whatever the foolishness that you're doing. But that's it. I think that's it. Do you guys have any last words? And I'm gonna add ZZ. I think Jay was on. Jay, please come back on. I'll end with you and ZZ, but I need to talk to Jaren in a moment. Do you guys, Dean? Do you have anything? Trini, you guys get the last word on this.
Well, I think that it's healthy that that people have their own outlets to express their grievances. Where it becomes dangerous is where we're reinforcing certain toxic behaviors. And I think to just, when people make these broad brushes that the Black manosphere is toxic, well, you're using certain examples, and I could easily do the same thing by saying, go to Divested Zealot, go to Lexus Exodus, go to Crystal Swirls, and you'll get the same thing. So, I'm just trying to be even Stevens about it, and just say, it's natural. Men have always had barbershops, so this is like the internet barbershop that just grew exponentially thanks to COVID. But to the divestors, please divest. You have my blessing. Like, nobody is, it gets irritating when they kind of get into spaces and they just kind of overtake certain things, and that could kind of be frustrating, because then the people who want, it's just, anyway. I got my own opinion on that, but love the stream, Themis. Thanks for having me on.
No, thank you for being here. I really do appreciate you. And I don't mind dissent. I think you are correct that there are good people in the manosphere. I need to watch more and review more of their content. But I also don't want it to be solely manosphere. I also do agree that if someone is saying Black men are, I just said it, bullet bags, they should be talked about too. Like, that's not okay. I don't know who said it. I still haven't looked up who said it because I don't care. I think the statement is wrong, and I will continue to say it's wrong, and I don't care who said it. So thank you. Also, thank you, LB. All right, Trini boy, your last words. But
I appreciate you having me on. The reason why I came on is because I wanted to have a dialogue. You know what I mean? Like, I think that a dialogue needs to be had. I don't see a solution. I see things getting worse before it gets better. And I don't like it. I don't like the way that our community is going. Even though you have a lot more people becoming educated and stuff like that. It's just the divide is growing, and I think conversations need to be had about what both sides, because both sides have a part to play, men and women, and everybody needs to be held accountable. And I think that's the thing. Like, you can't shirk accountability on either side, and we have to decide what we're going to do. Are we going to be traditional, or are we going to be modern? If we're going to be modern, then we're going to move in a modern way. If we're going to be traditional, then we're going to move in a traditional way. But
we cannot. Well, I'm going to start. We can't be traditional because I don't like saying things like this, because, like, I'm a Black man, and I don't understand how it doesn't hurt other Black men to say, like, to think. Anyway, we cannot. We cannot afford to live in a traditional way as Black men and Black community. We literally can't afford it. And so what I thought the manosphere was doing was teaching men how to be high value to, if women so wanted to do, that we could live in that environment if that's what we wanted, but instead we're ashamed. Whatever. Well, let's not go down this path. So that's the first thing. Second thing, and last question. I do have this question for you because I wanted to start with it, but let's see. Do you agree with Kevin Samuels that and Oshay Duke Jackson that Black women only see the finished product and they do not want to work with Black men to build?
Not 100%. I think when it comes down to that, it depends.
I'm saying generally.
I can't agree with it generally
All
because
right.
I think it's an individual thing.
Yeah, no. But as a general note, Black women tend to date down. There are Black women who date up, but Black women tend to date down economically.
I don't agree with that either.
No, it's not a point of agreement. Like that's what I'm saying. That is statistically proven. Black women all women, but particularly Black women when it comes to education. I did a stream on this. You can look at it, look it up or whatever. I can send you resources if you email me to look into it. But Black women tend to date down. I brought it up on the stream before. Black women tend to date down economically and academically. So his statement that Black women don't want to build is not true. Also, this is where we get the starter wife phenomena, where Black women help Black men become successful and they leave them for a white woman. Kanye had a song about that. Before I understood what Kanye meant, I then looked it up and now I do. It is something that does happen.
But it does happen, but it happens in the minutia. The majority of higher-earning Black men are married to Black women. That's statistically proven. So
no, that's not statistically proven. The majority of Black men, period, are married to Black women. Mm-hmm. The majority of high-earning Black men, well, I don't see that statistic.
Okay. Well, I'll get it, and the next time we speak, I'll have it for you.
Yeah, no, don't get it the next. You can send it to me.
All right, I'll send it to you.
So this is important to note. And when we say that Black women marry and date down economically and academically, that is statistically proven. So it's very important that when we talk about these things, we are on the same page. But I appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
All right, you too.
All right, before I bring on anyone else, Jaron, you had a lot of things to say in the comments. So
I didn't say that much.
So I don't. Are you? Let me ask first. Please say yes to this question, so we don't have to do this. And I'm not mad or anything. I think it's kind of funny. But are you generally trolling when you're in the chat?
Not that serious, I'll say. It's not that serious.
All right, so I won't get into it with you on this. Did the separate thing, someone said, my main man, Sharon. You've become infamous on
I guess so.
on the channel. Anywho, I actually rethought my position, and instead I realized that you get dragged on this channel every single day. So I will not add to that. I'll just
that's fine. It's the internet. It's not that serious.
All right, good. Let me add Z, Jack, and Ensad. I keep messing up your name. I apologize. All right, you guys take us away. Let's go with ZZ.
Hi, I was just here to remind you of, if you just look at the chat, sorry, I'm just here to just do that, but just to add to my, just like to add it maybe, maybe that I disagree with those women, the people that he was talking about. I didn't even know those people existed. I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but my friends and I guess I said in the chat, but we would check each other because we don't believe in that. Because I don't believe that you should use anybody. If you genuinely find them interesting and you want to create a relationship, then do so, but I don't think you should use someone.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, the problem is people talk about these women talking about men should be used, but honestly, that's what at least Kevin Samuels is preaching, right? Like he's saying women are visual, are about finances, and men are visual. So you have also recreated what those women you don't like say. It's a whole mess, I think, ultimately. But
But it's kind of like I think they're going. I think people are. If you're going to go for the traditional, like in the history of marriage, it was basically a gold digger, like beauty and like you want the woman for her youth and like bearing children. I'm just going from like back in the day. Um, and you want the man for the money. Obviously, like people, if they were polygamous or something, like the person who had the multiple wives had who was the richest one because he could. I'm not advocating for it. That's not what I'm advocating, but I'm just saying like when you have resources, then you have access, and so like beauty and I think beauty and resources have always been in tandem, and people don't want to like talk about like pretty privilege because that's a real thing. Because there's such thing as like a halo effect and all that stuff, and so it kind of plays into that role. And so basically, Kevin Samuels is already just like pulling the curtain in a not no nice way. Um, what I disagree with his fundamentalist of like beauty and your youth is all important to you. Like that's all that matters in the marriage market. But that is what he is basically valuing in women inside the marriage market.
yeah, I mean, I do think that there are men who are better, I think, adapted in society that knows that a woman's degree and intellect and economic resources that they have value, and I think that it is important that if we're talking about peering, this is not advice. If we're talking about peering, I think people should go where they're appreciated. That's my claim.
I agree with that.
Yes. Thank you so much. Only Annalise, men created sexism by trying to blame women for taking advantage of its weakness. I like that phrase. Thank you for that super chat. Jack. Thank you, Z. By the way, for the moderate, oh, we'll talk later. Thank you, Z. Jack.
Hi, how is everybody?
Doing well. Hey, Mr. Super. Thank you for being here. Is love dead? Apparently, I hope not, but apparently. All right, go ahead, Jack.
Well, I kind of got here a bit late, but I was able to catch a few snippets of classic talking points and excuses and old tropes that I hear men talk about women and how they always seem to be attacking them and using platforms to attack them and talk down on them. And I just think that it's kind of weird because there has always been rampant sexism in all different media forms that has only relatively recently had a pushback from women and a pushback from people supporting women's rights. And I just think it's really weird how one of the people who was on your panel was saying that men didn't have a voice to express how they feel and to put their foot down on being told that they're not good enough or put their foot down on how women are talking badly about them, and now it's their turn to kind of express how they feel. And I just find that I'm scratching my head thinking, how did you come up with that? It's just the most bizarrest thing.
Yeah, I mean, while still saying men created this ish. Like, when, how do men not have a voice and platform when, quote, men created this thing?
Well, I mean, maybe it's irrational, but regardless, if that's how a large amount of men feel, certainly discounting it wouldn't change anything, right? Like, or
Yeah, I mean,
to say
Well, I
like,
don't know if it's a large
I'm
amount of
scratching my
men.
head and
I don't know
millions
if
and
it's a
millions
large
of
amount
people.
of men, but I'm talking about, some of the men that I hear on online platforms. I just think it's very disingenuous, really. And also, there's the preoccupation of the loudest and the crassest women somehow representing majority of women and all women. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Shira Seven does have quite a few people who listen to her on her platform, and she talks about the realities of how women's not social capital, but women can be able to use their looks to kind of maneuver themselves in different social scenes to capitalize financially. And men value that, not all men, but men value that, and they get rewarded somehow because men are very visual creatures. And that's not something that happens all the time. But I mean, sex and money makes the world go round, and there's people who play into that. But it doesn't mean that we have to think that practically all men and all women are like that. There's some very modest men and women, traditional, quote unquote, traditional, or it's just there's so many different types of people who have different ways of approaching life. And I just find it really weird how people get preoccupied with the most crassest, loudest, sexist men or women.
I mean, it's interesting because Jaron made a comment in the chat earlier, and it was something to the effect of, I guess the hating is not working because Kevin Samuels is at 1 million or about to be at 1 million or something to that effect. And so it's interesting because I think at the same time when tons of men, I think Erica just pointed out the comments, if you look at the comments of how men in the comments react and are talking, like it is a cesspool, and I apologize for this, for these normative judgment, but it seems like a cesspool of just hatred. And so when someone say, yeah, but it's not everyone, it's a minority. Is it a minority? You just pointed out that he's almost at 1 million. And there's a part of me, and I will admit this, that feels really good that Black people are creating on this space, some similar to Trini Boy, that what he just said. But on whose backs are we doing that? That's the first issue that I had. But secondary is we don't get to say it's a minority when these people are like literally being pedestalized on this platform for these kinds of things. Like, I know people are like, oh, he's at 1 million and you were just mad. No, I promise you, YouTube is not where it's at for me. But when it comes out and you say it's a minority, you don't get to say a minority with that kind of support. And I do like
him having million isn't a reflection that he has good content.
No,
it might actually be a reflection that there's more eyes from different sections of ethnic culture or social culture or economic culture that have heard about him and are kind of attracted to the drama, attracted to the spectacle, rather than it being actual good quality content that they're going to take into their lives and use productively. It's kind of like,
I think that makes sense.
It's kind of
it's
like
also like
going with the card. What was it? Going with the keeping up with the Kardashians. Like, people at one point thought it was quite popular, not necessarily because it was good TV. It was just because it was trash and funny.
I mean, fast food is everywhere. By the way, we love to call his followers cesspool, but he's already said, "Judge me by what I'm not judging him. I'm saying if it's based on how big he is, then you don't get to say it's just one person. Like, you don't get that.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, I was gonna say he was offered some people, like media people. Another person said this, so this is just from word of mouth. So take it however you want. If media people from like other media companies have noticed him and have like talked about maybe putting him on like creating a show. So like
Period.
he is a loud voice, and so like I don't hear the negativity. I mean, there is toxicity in the women's sphere as well, but it's not as loud because like I don't necessarily hear it.
I
And
mean,
What are you
I
talking
do,
about?
I do
You don't
think
hear it. You don't hear it from who? Sorry, what are you saying?
the women, the women might be saying mean things, but it's not amplified in the
Oh,
way that these men are. The thing is, I don't want to get too much into this because I don't like talking about people's followers and stuff, because to me, following, I'll talk about the followers any day of the week. I I don't think it's important insofar as we like McDonald's, right? Like, no people, I don't eat it, but I know a lot of people like McDonald's because it's easy and it's there. Like, it doesn't mean it's great. It's not fine dining. But to the extent that we are talking about the followers, what I do know is that it is either a reflection in a positive way, or it's an indictment on the community and what we promote, and what the media is willing to push in order to get us to watch, whether it be, well, let me not call out any reality TV because I do watch the I like the mess, so let me not pretend like I don't. But if that's all we get, what are we? I mean, what are we eating? What are we feeding ourselves? I don't know. But I think that ultimately is a question that we have to answer at some point. But who knows?
do you know the three names that you have in this title of this live stream? I've watched a couple of videos of theirs, and essentially what I get from them is that women, and they're generalizing, women have really like high expectations, and how they're conducting themselves and their morals and how they present and what they're putting forth in the community is subpar. So they don't have a right to want the best black men. And that's essentially what I keep on hearing. And I just don't see what the solutions are that is essentially going to help the black community for what, and I put that in quotes because everyone has different ideas of what the black community is.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, for some people, I'm not even a part of the black community because they do only include ADOS. And then if you're biracial, you're not in it. Like, it's a lot. I don't have time for it.
But solution, I don't even know I don't think there is a solution. I think all of this angst is simply response to modern life, modern society, modern dating, and there doesn't appear to be a going back to like non-modern values and stuff. So it's just going to be men and women trying to make sense of a world that doesn't have as much structure.
But do we see this type of interaction between the sexes in other ethnicities?
Yes.
In England, in London anyway, I don't. I really don't. And I'm just trying to figure out why is that.
Well, if we're talking about in the context of like the manosphere versus the womansphere, the large black manosphere has come after a lot more people that were particularly white in the United States talking about men's issues, even the men's rights activists kind of people. All the ones I can think of are
name one white guy that speaks poorly about white women.
Rollo Tomasi.
Who?
Rollo Tomasi.
And to be fair, there are white manosphere. Like there are.
Right, no, I don't.
They created it.
Yeah.
But they were complaining. They were being incels, and
I mean, let's even talk about incel.
They were dragging
women. But I think that's
people
different,
think of as like a white person, right?
But I think that's different to what's happening in.
No. But wait, who is this guy? Can you spell his name for me, please?
Oh, Rollo, Rollo.
Jack, do you
Tomassi.
Sorry, Jaren.
Oh, no worries.
Um,
And there's others.
do you mean other minorities, or do you just mean like the majority?
No, I'd say
yeah,
every racial group
No,
or
she
every
was
group
asking
of.
you, Jaren. She was asking
Yeah,
me.
there are
Sorry.
different
Um,
ethnicities.
I
Manosphere.
was
There are.
talking about other ethnicities. I don't really see this intense, just over-exaggerated dislike for the opposite sex in other ethnicities, like the manosphere and the womansphere, if you want to call it that. And I don't think MGTOWs and incels is kind of the same thing, really,
Mm-hmm.
because
I mean,
Well,
you get
it's twofold, right? Like on one hand, I'm looking at the rational male, and he doesn't have not even as close to the support that Kevin Samuels has. And when I asked you to point that out, why I did that was I was trying to find if there was a white man with the kind of voice. With the kind of voice that Kevin Samuels had. Don't look it up. That's the point. That's why I asked. If you have to look it up, that's why I'm saying it's not right off the top of our heads, because it is not so pervasive in the culture, in any culture really. And I did ask some of my white friends, I'm like, oh, hey, do you know who Kevin Sam? And they just roll their eyes and they all know who he is. And then I did ask, who is the equivalent? And they had the audacity to say Steve Harvey, as if Steve Harvey is white. But there's no equivalent, right? And part of the reason we know there's no equivalent is because we can't even come up with one.
I have a question.
But even then, Kevin Samuels has only been around popularly since like last year.
Like,
yeah,
the impact isn't. This has been going on for like 10 years at least. Like it's silly to say.
I'm not just talking about Kevin Samuels. I'm talking about
all that.
I think they said that the men's rights, I think, started back in the 1970s, I think.
Yeah, that's a long time.
So that's what I'm saying. The men's right was first about like adoption. I actually did a whole video on this. Please go watch that.
It was about having parental rights, because I remember seeing in England there was a man who was scaling up one of the biggest, tallest buildings in London in a Spider-Man suit as a stunt, so that he can try and get arrested and highlight men's rights because he wanted to see his child. And that was like over 20 years ago. So it has been happening, but it hasn't happened where there is this general heated dislike for women. And but then also you want women to be traditional and lower their standards and all this other effery. It's just a hot mess.
Are we including?
All right, before let's go to I don't think so I say Ensad, what do you want me to call you?
It's Inside. It's from my whole name, but it's from my birth name. But you can call me Kosi for short.
Kosi. I'm probably gonna forget that. I remember a lot, but I don't remember names.
Don't worry about it. I'll probably have to email you one day about that. But I can see how this is confusing to a certain degree, and people are wondering, why is the manosphere, is it really effective for men in general? And I really don't think so. But like I've noticed, because I think I've even looked at somebody else, I think it was like Tracking the Manosphere or Expose the Manosphere, and he even showed a side of a place on the manosphere called the White Pill, which surprised me as well, that they were trying to bring more of a positive structure of helping men deal with divorce, deal with breakups. And he was actually trying to expose Myron from the Fresh and Fit Club as well. That there was something where it was a text message between him and his fitness model. Her name was Anna Quinn. And at first I was thinking, okay, this might be a joke or something, or just, plain old he said, she said stuff on a text message. But no, the girl had the receipts on her cell phone of like Instagram back and forth talking of Myron actually trying to bring her on his podcast, but he asked her to sleep with him first before he brought her on the podcast. And then Myron literally put it on the show with the what's McCall name guys, the roommates. And at first, when I finally saw it all, I was like, "Oh, this is unbelievable. This actually happened." You know, so when you say it's not toxic or anything like that, it kind of does. It kind of has its toxic moments that men are following these guys. And from the Fresh and Fit podcast, they are considered the #1 dating podcast, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, how did that happen?
Just quickly in response to the comment below, this is all I want to say. This is Rolo or whatever his name is, and this is Kevin Samuels. Like they're not even in the same.
Seamus,
Like,
you're not getting it. Kevin Samuels was at the exact same point, like a year ago.
No, I'm saying what is being promoted, who is bigger. I'm talking about the audience, and they are not the same. And what I'm saying,
the impact. One guy's been around for years.
No, not even the impact. I'm saying what we promote
and the things Kevin Samuels is talking about are built on these people.
Well, the thing is, I think that you're kind of right, Jen, that he has been around for a long time, and Kevin Samuels went viral. I think mainly it could be because of some black folk that put it, especially the fact that they put it on World Star, and then it went out to the park. And then after that, some men wanted to actually see who this guy, especially women, to see who this guy was, and they think he is all that, and it's like, yeah, he's not even qualified for real. He's we can go on this history all day and all night, but it's
yeah. I mean that's another thing, but we don't even have to get it. I realize that's been on for too long. So let's go with LB, Cynthia, and then Christian.
Okay. I actually came on to make a point that you just made about about like how we're comparing these two men and their following. But my question is, so what was the significance of asking, or what was the significance of bringing up Rolo, if not the impact of his audience? Because his impact is significantly lower than that of Kevin Samuels. So, like, to me, the only relevance of bringing up him was to compare him to Kevin. If they don't compare at all, then why are we even still discussing him? Because his impact means nothing virtually. Like, it's kind of like if I say something to a group of my friends, like, say I say the most hateful thing to a group of my friends, right? And then Beyonce turns around and says the same exact thing to a group of her fans. Who's gonna have the more impact? Like, who's gonna make a lasting impression on the most amount of people? And I think that's what matters. And for Kevin, like, first off, like, Black stuff is considered fringe in other communities, like Black movies, Black music, Black whatever. Like, it's kind of like this other thing in other communities. So for Kevin Samuels to even move into non-Black spaces and to be a known name in a household, like where a white person could be like Kevin Samuels and roll their eye, that means a lot. Versus like when you said Rolo, half of us were like, if not more than half of us, probably most of us were like, who's that?
Yeah, but that's a reflection of, I guess, everyone's understanding of let's say the manosphere. Like, it existed before last year when Kevin.
Yeah, no, it did. We're not arguing that. We're arguing about who gets promoted. I'm with you, LB, but I don't want to put. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'll leave it alone after this, but I'm going to say this. Jaren, I existed last year. Beyonce existed last year. Beyonce still has ridiculously greater impacts.
That's not okay. What does that even mean? Okay.
Okay.
I'm sure you existed last
LB.
year.
No, I
get
LB.
Okay. I'll use something more like recent.
No.
Okay. Oh, okay, never mind.
I get you. I think Jaren hopefully gets you. But
Jaren gets me. He just doesn't want to say it.
Yeah.
No, but even then, we're talking about Kevin Samuels. Ariel. His reach was in the last 6 months. We're like, Ariel. This is all very recent.
Hey.
Anyways.
How are you?
Good evening. Oh my God, I am stressed out, Themis. I be wanting to listen to Themis, but oh my God, they be stressing me out. And I'm like, you can't be getting stressed out with people. Like, you know what it is? It's not people's points, it's their arguments, their inability to articulate, and them being disingenuous. I mean, I listened to Trini Boy, or the guy from Trinidad, and I was like, this can't be real. And it's like, I don't know if he's trolling or if he's truly like being serious. But anyways, my question is like, what is the end goal to folks who listen or who believe, who buy into the manosphere? Like, what is the end goal? Like, what are they trying to achieve? Like, I know you're not an Themis, but whoever is on this call right now, can you please, and you like buy into it and you believe in it, can you please tell me the end goal?
I don't know.
So nobody knows. And
They're
that's
just
what I'm saying.
venting. That's their
I
problem.
know. I know the end goal. The end goal is to be. It's to use people's pain as currency for their self-promotion. I actually don't think most of these people on here care about developing men. And not most of these, I mean, most of the people who I talk about on this channel. For you to do that,
No, I agree to that. I don't see them really improving men, even in the job market or even on emotional intelligence.
I was going to do a video and I decided not to. The roommates did. They wanted to test out their how masculinity video because they wanted to teach men how to be masculine, and you have to go behind a paywall to get the rest of it. And I'm just watching it. I'm like, okay, yeah, they don't care. Like these people don't care about developing men. But I also think men, there is a real and an important need to vent and to recognize that men are quote unquote humans, as Effie said it, right? And they are. And we tend to treat men in our society as if they are only providers, as if their only value is what they can bring to the table economically, and that they should know everything at all times, and if they don't, then they're criticized for it. The problem is, if we want to deconstruct those narratives about men, men have to want to deconstruct that too. You do not get to tell everyone else that you are these things, and when they treat you like these things, then you're upset about it and say, I need to be emotional, I need to be this, I need to be that, when you're saying, oh, men aren't emotional. Like, no, you can't hold that space. You don't get to do that. So it's annoying because there are parts of what they're saying that's super important and useful, but the way they position it, it's very contradictory, and it's telling women how to be in order to get them, but they cannot be what they claim to be. So it's just a mess, but I do know what they're exploiting. They're exploiting men's need to be in a community and to speak unabashedly about their own personal issues, which they have to also recognize it's not generalizable. Men aren't the ones being abused, women are. And the fact that people are questioning why there are more female abuse shelters than there are male abuse shelters. Like, are the ability...
Does that actually happen? Do people actually question that? Because that's sick in their head if they are.
I mean, they did. They did just on this live today. But the problem is, like, you don't have homeless shelters for billionaires, right? It doesn't make sense, right? Like, so in any case, let's go on to Christian. I think you're the last person. I went way over time, and I have so much work to do, and I'm in so much pain. Go ahead, Christian.
Hey, I think the solution to the average man problem is simply women are going to have to share. Simple as that. Women are going to have to share.
All right, let me just say, there are more men in the world than women currently.
Exactly. So women are going to have to share.
No. There are more men in the world than women, so women don't have to share, actually. But also,
you just said there are more men in the world than women.
No, there are more black. Yeah, there are more black men in America than there are. There are more black women in America than there are black men.
So we're talking about America.
So if black women only wanted to marry black men, then yes, they're gonna have to share. But there are more men generally, including all races of men on this planet than there are women. So all women could get a man if all we're barring like sexuality and all of that. We're just counting raw numbers here. So if we do that, women can get to marry a single man, and a man can get to marry a woman, but there will be leftover men, and I don't know what they're gonna do. But they're just gonna do what they're gonna do. But you're right. If black men only want if black women only want black men in America, then they probably will have to share. Yes.
Yeah, but you're assuming that these cultural things aren't pervasive throughout the whole country.
Wait, what? No. I'm just talking raw numbers. Like I
Sure.
didn't factor for anything at all. I'm just talking raw numbers.
I think that men and women just need to really have really good conversations and talk and consent to what they want to do instead of arguing all the time. I think talking it out and understanding one another will actually eventually lead to something.
Yeah. I do think we need to talk, but like we've realized, those spaces don't allow for conversation. If you go on there, you will get dragged. And if you go on the female channels, a lot of them, you will also get dragged. So I don't know where you're going to have these conversations. And apparently I'm too harsh, and I really don't try to be harsh. I got an email the other day saying that I need to not debate and I need to let people fully explain themselves without ever combating. I was like, sir, absolutely not. That's literally not going to happen. But I will let you talk, and I do hope I try to be respectful. The young man who came up, I don't know if he's older than me, said that I was interrupting him, and I tried my best to let him speak after that. So that's that on that. Christian, keep going. Wait, before you go, Woodini said, this is the perspective of taking a cup of water in the ocean and declaring there aren't any whales. No shape. But this is part of my criticism. LOL. I don't know what I hopefully you can explain this at some other time. Please remember it and come on. Go ahead, Christian.
No, honestly, I don't have a lot to say. I just think, comparing Rollo Tomasi to Kevin Samuels is kind of like comparing Google to Apple. I mean, they're two completely different things. They have two separate functions. So to compare them it's like going around saying, well, I see more iPhones on the street, so how can Google be an important or relevant company? It makes no sense.
Oh, you're breaking up. I didn't hear what you just said. I apologize.
Where did it come off? What was the last thing? I was just saying, it's like saying, going on the street and saying, oh, well, I see more iPhones on the street than I see Google, so Apple's a more relevant company than Google.
Yeah, I apologize. I don't know.
He was just talking about Apple and Google, basically making an analogy. But anyway, let's keep it moving.
All right. I don't know. I didn't understand. All right. So anyway, I think this is where I'm ending, unless anyone, if you have anything pressing that you want to talk about quickly, you have the right. You have the floor. So go ahead, Ensad.
To add on, sometimes I think with the manosphere, I think it's also political affiliation too. I think they do kind of have a bit of a connection to Trump supporting. Some people could say Republicans, but that would be a little wrong. But I think more Trump supporters as well.
Which, by the way, that is super interesting. I brought this up randomly about the political position they take. It's funny because while these people, I heard Hafiz talk about how incredible Trump was. So it's interesting how these people and how he is the archetype of masculinity, which I guess go support Trump. So Hafiz is a Trump supporter based on my observation. He might object to that, but that's what I get. I don't care about your political belief, but it seems odd that you can see Black women oppressing you, or Black women mistreating Black men, but you don't see how the system in place affect Black men. Like it's interesting to me that you can hold those positions. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe because I do recognize that accountability is important. That will be my first video on my next channel, where I become a teacher in some ways, but I'm not going to do it. Like, I'm not teaching men how to be men. I don't know. I'm not teaching women how to be women. I don't know. But I do recognize that if you hold the position that you can pull yourself up, and you can also recognize that there are systemic issues, that for a lot of people, they do not understand that these two positions are not completely contradictory and they can exist and do exist. So I do recognize I will get a lot of comments from people who may not know how to hold those things together. Saying, how am I talking about racial injustice on this channel? But then I'm also talking about pulling yourself up by the bootstrap, which is fundamentally a conservative idea. So we shall see how this goes. You can hold both. But anyway, we'll talk about critical race theory tomorrow.
Yay.
Oh boy.
I'm excited.
That's going to get interesting.
Yeah. By the way, since we are closing now, I will end here and then we'll talk about a little bit about the live on Friday in the after show. Let's do that. All right. Thank you. Go ahead.
Can I make one comment real quick?
Please.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't want to interrupt like that. I was just going to say, I put it in the chat earlier, but I know the chat goes fast, so I wanted to say it on here. But a lot of people are looking at KS's popularity and thinking of it as like, these are all like woman haters. I would say that they're women haters, or like Black women haters. I would say some of them are haters and then some of them are just complacent in the haters activity. And what I'm saying is like, I put it in the chat, but I feel like people watch KS for the same reason that they watch like Maury or like Divorce Court or Cheaters or To Catch a Predator. It's just entertaining for some people. It's something stupid to watch at the end of the day. It's something for women with low self-esteem to look at and be like, well, at least I'm not that chick. Like, it's, you know, it's something for a man with low self-esteem to look at and be like, yeah, that's right. Like, it's pretty much like trash TV. Like, we all watch trash TV. We watch a bunch of stuff we shouldn't watch. And the people watching KS are just people watching trash for it doesn't mean that people agree with his philosophy.
No, she's right. She's right. That's exactly what I've heard from some men actually say. They like, I try not to cap them. I don't really agree with the tone and all that, but they said it's very entertaining. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to be entertaining or demeaning women.
That's exactly what I said. Basically, like keeping up with the Kardashians.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly what I was alluding to.
But one thing I will add to that though is that while I understand that it's just entertainment like any other trash TV, I will say that it's entertainment at the expense of Black women and the Black community. It not only emotionally affects Black women, but it also is a bad reflection on Black men. It's a bad reflection on Black community values and Black people in general. And it's unfortunate that we live in a world where like you walk around as a representative for everybody that looks like you, but that's the world we live in. Yeah. And so we have to look at what we're supporting. We're supporting things that make all of us look bad, whether we're just complacent and looking for something to wind down after work, or if we really agree with KS.
Whether or not we want to identify with each other, there is an over-identification with each other, and it's pushed upon us from the broader society that we all represent each other. So yes, I'm glad you pointed that out. Separately, and I do need to underscore this that you say, because I think it's super important. If we are to change the way we are treated, that is not going to be coming when we beg for change. We have to prove ourselves, not just to other people, but to ourselves. And the young man who came on talked about how we are emotionally reacting, and this is what humans do. If we cannot transcend that sort of visceral and immediate reaction emotionally, where we go out and we drag each other, if we cannot do that, there's no growing for us. There's literally no growing for us if we cannot control ourselves. By the way, random note, The Kardashian, I have never watched a full episode of The Kardashian. I don't know. And this is why I say I don't understand what people watch and consume. Like, it's not going to probably be this channel because I don't know how to do it. I find them, and I apologize. Well, I'm not going to apologize. This is an opinion. I find them extremely boring. Like, I've turned on the channel and I see two, like, I've tried to watch it where I see two people talking and I'm like, oh my God, like, what are you guys talking about? Like, it's just like the vocal fry added to the nothingness of the topic, added to like just the blandness of everything. I can't. I mean, I guess people like the extravagance because that's probably the one thing. It's good setting. That's it. I don't know. I don't like it.
100% agree with you. And FYI as well, I don't watch it. I just hear people love it so much or used to love it.
It's the selling of the image. That is what it is. I mean, that's what Kay Samuel's roommates, their images are very powerful. And so basically both of us have been sold images. So both of them, we kind of figure out what we're supposed to be by images that have been sold to us. And so now, because they say fit and all these things that are visible can help, because it's easier to sell when you have physical things, not abstract things.
Yeah. I mean, that is true. I definitely watch. I've tried many times to watch it. I couldn't. Like, I watch them saying, "Oh, do you believe that you are having a negative influence on the beauty in the community or in America, or whatever?" And they said, "No, because what we try to do is we try to be healthy. We go to the gym." I'm like, wait, so is Kylie gonna say that from her lips? I want to hear those words saying, I am healthy and I go to the gym. This is why I look like this from Kylie's lips. That's what I want to hear. Like, look, I'm all for, like, I'm full force in terms of plastic surgery, do you, whatever. But it's the lies and just, I don't know. I don't know why, I don't understand it, but you might be right, Jack. It is selling an image. And a lot of people just like what they don't have, unfortunately. So yeah, yes, I want to hear Kylie tell us from her lips that she go to the gym and try to stay healthy. That's why they look the way they do. And anyone can achieve it. Anyway, thank you all for being here. Ended with too much shade, but at this point, I'm already in the gutter. So, have a good day. I'll remove. You guys can remove yourself. I think I don't know how to do it. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
See you
There'll
later.
be
I was thinking. Let's see.
LB, you were saying something. Sorry.
Oh, it's cool. I was just saying in the words of Mr. Witty last week, gutter gutter.
Thank you all so much for being here. All right, so I feel like, I wanted her to be there, but I feel like the live tomorrow is going to be a mess, and I'm here for it. So we're going to be talking about critical race theory. I will set up some frameworks. I will talk in the beginning about what it is, give some background on it. And wait, Themis, how was your Aki? I made Aki last night and I posted it on my Instagram. I found out from a lot of people that Aki is actually really poisonous. Like, our national dish in Jamaica is poisonous. I've been eating this for a long time, and every time I make food, I post it in my stories. But apparently, it's poisonous, so I'm going to look in. Anyway. So critical race theory. I hope that you guys do. Even if you want to speed up the video, skip through the video. I did a video on critical race theory last week. Please watch it before you guys come. If you haven't, please read something about critical race theory. And then form your opinion, right? I just think that I just think that it's important that we are informed, because the live is going to most likely get theoretical, right? And in fact, I think a lot of us are going to um, a lot of us are going to agree, most likely. And so if we all agree, what the discussion is probably, it's going to be useful if we're dissecting it and opening it up more and deconstructing and reconstructing it, and see what comes of it. So I think that that we need to be prepared. I hate giving quote unquote assignments, but please be prepared. Will you still be taking the 16 personality test? Yes. Remind me tomorrow, but in the after show, we will do the personality quiz together. So all I'm asking is that you guys have some backgrounds, know the tenets, and then we're gonna just talk about it. I hope that we do have I hope that really hope that we do have a great life, but if it's not, then we can just go straight into the personality test. That's European standards of poisonous, right? I've been eating ackee all my life, so I'm not gonna stop now. Like when please dive as it's not poisonous, right? Not it. We let Oshay slip the knot. We definitely did. We definitely did. We didn't even finish Oshay's video. But I mean, honestly, there was nothing more to it, honestly. Like if we want to be honest. I have my test results. LOL. All right, good. Tomorrow we're gonna do it together. Thank you. Hit the like button on your way out. Thank you so much. I'm the mediator on the personality test, period. Yeah, I'm very excited to do that. I actually don't know what I am, so this should be interesting. It's poisonous if it is force-wiped. Gotcha. Aki and Saltfish Gang, period. Let me look. My thing came out really good too. In any case, but we are done here. Team has got the fresh cut. No, so I'm anxious, really, really anxious. I cut my own here. Like I literally cut my own here. Because I'm very afraid to go to the barber. I feel like the barber shop is a very intimate place, and you are too close to my face. I cannot do it right now. I really can, but I will be going soon. In any case, I appreciate you guys. I don't want to get off now after spending so long on here, because now when I get off, I'm going to have to work a ton. He's so proud of himself with the cooking. I am. You don't know, like, you don't know, Dean. You don't know how difficult cooking is for me. It's therapeutic. I love it. I wish I could cook like that. Period. Anyway, thank you all. I will be working all night long. In the words of Beyonce, all night long I will be working. All right, that is it. I'm just rambling at this point, looking at things. Cool. Also, the people reading my book, we are meeting on Sunday. This will be the last meeting. If you are here and you are coming to the meeting on Sunday, please finish reading. This will be the last meeting on my book. So please read it. And come ready with feedback. We have been doing an amazing job with this. We've read 39 chapters, 200,000 words, 200,000, it's 200,000, 200,000 words. You guys are amazing. So thank you. Oh, wow, Timothy, you look like you could throw down. I'm surprised cooking is a challenge. It's not a challenge. It's I have to be super focused. I'm actually really good though. Like Everyone likes my cooking. I sent out the link in the email chain. Okay, thank you, LB. So everyone should have gotten the who is a part of the book club. Well, not the book club as membership, but reading my manuscript. Everyone should have gotten that. And we're doing it. I'm only updating you guys here because I am excited about the book. I want you guys to get excited about the book. At this time, Themis is just using us to procrastinate. Period. Period. That is it. That is it. Also, my neck hurts so much. Like, it's so annoying. All right. LB's at chapter 7. London, Lincoln, LB, and Dawn, I think, are probably the furthest in the book. So thank you all. Remind me on Friday about the so-called challenge. I need to pick a winner. And I will figure out who the winner is. I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I will. Oh, do I join as a member to get the emails? No. You can email me separately, but the last meeting for the book club is going to be on Sunday. So, I mean, it wouldn't make sense for anyone else to join. There are so many, how do I put this? There's so many chapters and pages and words, like it's a lot. So I don't think that anyone can, really read that before Sunday. So you will get access to the book though. Wait, I don't know what get some Tiger Balm for your neck. I don't know what Tiger Balm is. I will look it up. Yeah, I worked out at the gym, and I don't have. Apparently, I messed up my posturing, and yeah, 7 minutes until 3 hours. All right, I'm done. Thank you, Z. I will forward the link to you. By the way, Z. Probably tomorrow. And yeah, Tiger Balm, Chinese medicine. All right, got it. I will look it up. Thank you all. All right, I'm done. I'm leaving now. Have a good night. Bye.